Hello, 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 YouTube. Welcome back to one of my weekend lives. For those of you who are usually, there's not a lot of you, but Cinnamon Girl's here, my lovely co-reader. For those of you who are usually expecting a book club reading, I have taken that off the table at just the quick moment this week and next week. Because this week, we just found out that Donna Adelson's trial is going to be postponed again for indefinitely. We don't know when it's going to be put on again. And that's one of the reasons we're reading the book. Hello, everyone. Welcome in. Thanks for being here. If I don't name you, and if you say hi to me and I don't name you, please don't take it personally at all. Just know that I'm just trying to manage a lot of different things at once. But anyway, hello, everybody. So Donna Adelson's trial has been pushed off. That means I felt like I could spend a little bit more time on this video that I'm about to show you, which required a lot of time because there was a lot of smack talk. Oh, Music City Mom is already gifting the 5 memberships. Thank you very much. Well, that calls for, yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Oh, and also, by the way, for those of you who were here last time and it looked like my super chat button wasn't working, I think I have fixed that issue, but I thought I had fixed it before. So, if you feel like giving it a test today, you are more than welcome to, but not expected. My lovely Nightbot mod will be sharing other links, pay links in the chat, and I have a QR code at the corner of my screen. Oh, yes, it's fixed. Yay, Marlene CA. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody coming in. Okay, so I got a really big shoe for you today. I got a really, 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 really big shoe. Oh, thank you, Music City Mom. Yay! First super chat on this channel, Music City Mom. Woo! For that, you get. Yeah. Oh my gosh, we're getting more. Pointer lever. Yay, it works. It's working. We are breaking those chains. Yay, Marlene CA. Thank you. It's working. Thank you, everybody. I appreciate that. So I just want to dispense with something right away before we get started. I don't know if you saw my community post, but I am absolutely gobsmacked that anything, literally anything taken out of the mouths of these people are ever questioned or taken seriously ever again, you guys. They are each one of these people are adjudicated liars. Every single one of the things they keep claiming about other people doing to them on the internet and off was put through a court and deemed not credible. Okay. So everything they say from here on out must be called into question. If you don't get verifiable, if somebody makes a claim, a major claim, like somebody called CPS on me and they don't show verifiable proof, you got to go like this. Grounds. You got to be like grounds, baby. Grounds. Okay? Grounds. It's unbelievable. Like, and I'm not trying to diss anybody who's talking about this at all. It's just astounding to me that anyone would believe an iota. There needs to be like a warning sticker on these channels that says, adjudicated liar, conspiracy theorist. Yeah, and you want to believe that they have the best, Sebastian's best interests at heart, like Lil Red says, but I'm going to show you a video right now that shows you that even though he said it over and over and over as if it was true, Nick the Hat did not have Sebastian Rogers's interests at heart, finding Sebastian Rogers. That was just a part of a bigger scheme that he's been trying to make into realization since he got out of prison, since he got out of jail, okay? Ever since he got out of jail, he's been wanting a Netflix documentary, and he hasn't landed it yet. And so even if he hasn't landed that Netflix documentary, he's telling people that he can land the Netflix documentary with all his major connections. Thank you very much, Marley Beans. Very much appreciate it. Woo! So you get a cute little. Okay, I found something kind of funny. You guys, this is me laughing on camera. Okay, this is what you get for your stream of super chats today.
Double check to make sure that everything meets its criteria of being correct and factual.
That is funny.
So whenever I'm laughing over here, that's what I'm looking like. Yes, they are a little red. But they packaged that documentary as having exclusive footage of jail calls from the family, hours and hours and hours, and it was shit that was already on the internet. Okay, it's ridiculous. These people are such fucking scammers and liars, and we're gonna expose more of that today. We're gonna expose that, and it's through mostly Nick's and Hong's own words, but mostly Nick, because he's the boss of that little group there. Okay, regardless of what he tries to say. So here we go. And I might be having, hey, Johnny, nice to see you. I might be having a special guest coming up to help interpret this stuff for me in a bit. I'm not sure. But, there's so much to know about these jokers. Okay. You're not going to find it all on the internet, but it is there. And I've compiled it to show you their patterns, a pattern that has continued to escalate and escalate and escalate until they found a high profile missing child's father to try to save from the Me Too movement. That's basically what it was. Okay. The evil, evil Me Too movement. Oh my God, One Shot. Oh my God. Thank you so much for the 20 gifted memberships. If you exposed, right, Shelby Lynn? If you got a gifted membership, please thank One Shot. And by the way, this video I'm about to show you will be available for members only after this live and for a period of time before I make it public, if I do make it public. So thank you so much, One Shot. Let me see if I have another fun media asset here for you.
I'm blaming it on the wine.
Fucking Sarah Boone. All right. So there's just let's just go ahead and get into this video now. And one other quick housekeeping announcement. I know I've said this before, but everybody's welcome here as long as you're respectful. I expect us all to be adults. If you think this is kind of a community moderated channel, okay, you guys, meaning you are all my mods. You in the chat, you're my mods in the sense that if you see a troll come in here and you don't think I saw it, just type troll in the chat. No need to interact with the troll. No need to fight with the troll. Just say troll and I'll get it. And I don't care about opinions that are different from mine as long as they are stated respectfully. I hopefully you've seen me exhibit that characteristic over time. Okay. So with all of that said, let's get going.
SEKULA. During the trial, Senior Deputy Attorney General Kelly Secular, spelled SEKULA, said, quote, "Worse than what he did to the direct victims, he attempted to use the scourge of racism to create a sensational news story in a pathetic effort to bolster his own profile. He tried to drum up attention for himself by creating the fake wash and stack emails, and when that failed, he turned his attention to a story that would generate sensational publicity."
So if it's hard for you to read the text on the screen, it says, "This is the story of how Nick the asshat exploited a high-profile missing teens case to fulfill his long-held fantasy to be featured as the prodigal hero of a Netflix-worthy spy thriller." Okay. And what you're hearing here is, oh, that's weird, Johnny. YouTube's moderating you. That's weird. Anyway, so the person you hear on here is a guy named Doug Papa, who Nick harassed and tried to discredit, and because Nick was trying to be the savior of Sylvester Stallone, who this guy, Doug Papa, was a reporter, and he printed some exposing stories about some past essay allegations about Sylvester Stallone. And so Nick decided to discredit this guy. Thank you so much for the 5 gifted memberships, Sophie Petrillo. Thank you so much. So what this guy, Doug Papa, ended up doing was an expose on Nick the Hat. And I didn't clip the entire thing, but it shows you, that a repeated pattern by this asshat is to find stories and to create chaos around them and to pick out cultural hot points, like the Me Too movement or, BLM. And he's always in the mix. He's always throwing himself in that mix. And he's always touting his major deep connections with law enforcement and celebrities, and bringing down the heavy hand of the government, because he depicts that he has control. He somehow has levers to pull within the government to come down on you. And he constantly says that. Now, there are going to be people who believe him and buy into this bullshit and decide to even invest in him or invest in his thoughts or his story, right? And so that's what I'm saying, is that even if he didn't ever have a Netflix deal in the works, he would really like one to be in the works. And he was convincing people that there could be one in the works. And that's where that whole TMZ exclusive came in, because if he was able to get a TMZ exclusive for announcing this Rico law filing with Dog the Bounty Hunter at the very beginning, then he could legitimize this for a Netflix documentary. Okay, so let's keep going.
His attention to a story that would generate sensational publicity, racism, and high levels of county government, and it worked, said the prosecutor, unquote.
Nick was incarcerated in 2019 for multiple fraud charges. Before that, and we've talked about those fraud charges, but that involved framing a probation officer as a racist and impersonating journalists in order to get comment from high-level officials and things like that. He was trying to smear this person as a racist in retaliation. And that's another pattern we see throughout his career here, is that as soon as somebody turns against him or threatens to come near exposing him, he quickly turns the focus onto that person and starts to tear them down using every cultural dog whistle in the book, right? But when you do that over and over and over and over again, and you do it on a large stage, involving true crime, high profile true crime cases, and it's so obvious that you're being a scammer, and it's so obvious that you lied and lied and lied, and that you have leveraged lawyers in your work, that you have leveraged these lawyers for whatever reason, whatever reason that they are involved, you expose yourself more and more. And when you take, the other thing I want you to note as we go through this and we see clips of NIK is you kind of see a change in his appearance and his way of speaking, and how it changes also according to what, what he's trying to project. But you should see everything that he says through the lens of, he's pitching a story. He's pitching a documentary that's going to show up on Netflix or somewhere sometime. Okay. And he's been trying to make that fetch happen for years. He's trying to come out and overcome this persona of being a fraud, a convicted fraud. And the only way he can overcome that to his satisfaction is by coming out with something big and massive and global, like a Netflix documentary that paints him as the hero who saved a missing child's father from being persecuted by the Me Too movement. And, so I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's keep watching.
Prosecutor Secular also said during the trial, quote, "This case boils down to one thing, one person, NIK, his ego, his need for attention, and his complete disregard for others. The defendant could have ended Jeff Ronnie's career. He could have ended the careers of any of the 10 supervisors in the Delaware County Adult Probation Office. He could."
And this is where he's talking about how NIK literally called up prostitutes and sent them to a neighbor's home, and then called the police to try to get that neighborhood on solicitation charges. But you're going to hear quickly coming up here in a clip of what he thinks of prostitutes and hookers, and how he uses them as tools, how he weaponizes them for his agenda, even though what he thinks of them is that if you can be bought, if you are a prostitute, then assault doesn't matter. That's his position. And he'll say it right up here. Not in those exact words, but in so many words.
Could have sparked racial unrest. He could have sparked violence. He didn't care, unquote. Delaware County Detective Edmund Pisani, spelled Pisani, also testified at the trial. Pisani said he was familiar with Hatziv from a 2015 investigation in which he harassed his neighbors by repeatedly sending prostitutes to their door through an escort service, then calling the police on them. Pisani said Hatziv used the same racially charged language in that case, stating, quote, he said, "I like to watch ends get locked up, and more ends are going to get in trouble."
That is something that was quoted that NIK said. I like to watch them locked up and get in trouble. So he's taking his own internal feelings and projecting it onto other people. Okay.
Hatziv pleaded guilty to harassment in that 2015 case and was sentenced to probation.
Now, there's another case that I didn't put up here, but because he was acquitted. But what he was acquitted on doing was he showed up to the police station, and he had an envelope of drugs, and he was and this was like in 2014 or 2015, something like that. And he had an envelope of drugs, and he was coming in under the guise of, I'm here to turn in the dealer that sold these to me. And it turned out that the reason he was doing that is because apparently the drug deal was caught on a Snapchat or something like that. I might be mangling this story, but point being is he has a history of trying to of being involved in shady deals himself, and then trying to turn in the person that he did the shady deal with as if they were the one who was the bad guy. Okay.
Sentencing hearing, Delaware County Judge John Capuzzi, spelled Capuzzi, said sentencing is usually the hardest part of his job.
Eric Jasper, no, he didn't. What? Can you be more clear about what he didn't do?
But HatZoff had made it easy. He pointed to other instances of racism displayed by
Oh, okay, you were being incredulous. Okay, I just wanted to make sure, Eric Jasper.
HatZoff, including an incident where he called 911 to falsely report that an officer had used the N-word over a police radio. Pointing to HatZoff at the table, Capuzzi said, "So the racism in this room sits right there at that table. You tried to direct that racism from your heart to the probation department and to Mr. Ronnie in particular." Capuzzi sentenced HatZoff in the aggravated range because he found his conduct was malicious and cold-hearted and was designed to degrade Ronnie, his office, and the county, which expended a great deal of money and other resources due to HatZoff's actions. In addition to prison time, HatZoff was ordered to serve 3 years of consecutive probation, pay for the cost of
So the what you're hearing being said is not what's also being reflected on the screen. I'm just saying he also in 2021 he was ordered to pay nearly $5 million after a civil defamation lawsuit. So this is his history, guys. And history tells the future, right? Unless you change, unless you show actual change. Some people come out of incarceration and change their lives around. Some people come out of incarceration and they don't change their lives around, but they act like they've changed their lives around, and they act like a hero, and they virtue signal as, and the reason they espouse that they have these close connections and knowledge to the judicial system and to the police is because they've had so many interactions with them. Okay, that's why.
Prosecution and have no direct or indirect contact with the probation office. He is not eligible for early release from prison, and Capuzzi indicated there would also be a restitution hearing in the future. Prosecutors said he has a rap sheet that includes using a burner phone to make prank phone calls, doctoring videos from rappers Ice-T and Snoop Dogg as false evidence, and using forged paperwork to obtain a vehicle license plate that identifies him as a journalist. I will identify him as Nick the Lion Dirtbag.
Nick. We call him Nick the Hat.
So that kind of goes through his past, like his past behavior, showing a pattern, showing what he does. And if if it has worked for him, then he would change it. It has obviously worked for him up to this point. I don't know how long it'll continue working for him. That's not for me to decide. But the longer he just keeps doing this, the more he's going to be exposed, and he just brings it on himself, right? But just remember, he's an adjudicated liar. Good question, Michelle. I don't know. But when he came out in 2021, he emerged as, he basically painted himself as an anti-Me Too activist. And he branded himself as the savior of Me Too accusers like Bill Cosby. So this interview you're about to hear clips from are from on a podcast he joined just after Bill Cosby was released from prison. And they were all having their victory round, right? Because they had all been saying, he's innocent, he's innocent. So, I have no idea. That sounds kind of high to me, though, to be honest, your Kiwi mate, but I don't know. I'm not good at gauging that kind of a thing. Hey, Gary, nice to see you. Hey, everybody coming in, Neat Noodle, all you people coming in, lovely to see you. So let's listen to what he has to say on this, on his victory lap about Bill Cosby, and notice what he, once again brings up over and over and over again.
Nick has been one of the few individuals with YC News who was at Mr. Cosby's trials, both the first and second. He was one of the few news outlets that reported factual truth. Nick, how do you say your last name?
Smith, Nick Smith.
Nick
The H
Smith.
is silent. No, HADZF-STATHIA. HADZF-STATHIA.
Hadzio.
Wow.
How bad that trial was, not just for Cosby. Forget Cosby. It's the precedent that they were setting for relationships when you don't call it a boyfriend and a girlfriend when you guys are before that stage, and then you don't get to that stage.
You hear what he's saying there? That is like a classic anti-Me Too, what's the word I'm looking for? Thing that they say, like a thing that they say, which basically says, if it wasn't consensual, but you were boyfriend and girlfriend, it was still okay. No, it's never okay. It's never okay to have unconsensual sexual touching or assault. It's never okay. Yes, please remember to hit the thumbs up. Thank you very much, Caroline.
That happens with almost everybody.
It happens to everybody. Everybody gropes women. Everybody gropes women when they don't want it. It happens to everybody. Everybody accidentally sleeps with a woman after she said, no, I don't want that. We've all been there. No. No, we're not going to just put the whitewash over, normalize having sex with a woman who doesn't want to have sex, drugging a woman to have sex with her. That's not consent.
Especially in high school.
And these guys went to fucking, said that they were going to Rico federal court to complain about poopy words. On the other hand, because that's all that was contained in their complaint was fucking poopy words. There was no death threats, nothing like that. Nobody went over there and grabbed his balls. So if somebody just somebody just grabbed his balls and they were in a almost boyfriend-girlfriend relationship, that'd be okay? Fuck off.
When you're in high school or college, that's what it comes down to. Behind a person, so where she should be, she's a hooker. They had
and he does an entire many minutes on if you're a hooker, assault doesn't matter. If you're a hooker, it doesn't matter even a hooker, you guys, stop putting people in categories. It's never okay. It's not about whether somebody deserves it. It's not about whether a person deserves it. It's about your crossing boundaries. It's about the person who's doing it, not the person who's receiving it. Okay. So you can't judge the guilt or innocence of a human being by, does she deserve it? And I thought that we were way past this now. I don't know, but I don't think a lot of people are, but most people are past this idea now that anybody deserves unconsensual sex or to be touched that way. It's absolute ignorance. Absolutely.
Wanted hooker, and Kevin Steele paid for her hotel and dinner because he has to. Taxpayers minding dying a hooker for a sexual assault trial. Taxpayers are paying for it, and she's a hooker.
Y'all hear this? Y'all hear this?
And she's a hooker. If I was the attorney general, I would charge him with soliciting a prostitute.
See, and so there he goes talking big smack about how what he would do if he was the prosecutor. Well, Nick, you will never be a prosecutor. The only next time you're in front of a prosecutor is to look at your own charges, I'm sure, because I'm sure if you're doing this kind of shit on the, on the upper ground, who knows what the fuck you're doing on the underground. Okay. Yeah. Get back in the cave. Exactly. Get past that. I mean, Jesus Christ. So, and here how his mind works is I'm going to pretend that I know what I would do as a DA and I would prosecute this guy for a solicitation because he used a hooker as a witness. Oh my God. Unbelievable. Unfreaking believable. You're such a fucking buffoon.
Kevin Steele, because that's soliciting a prostitute. I don't care what you just stop hiring hookers to testify. Somebody's word that sells themselves out for a living, well, you're going to get what you pay for. He can be sued right now.
You're going to get what you pay for
what he did. A man that was wronged by the criminal justice system. And that's something that I cover very aggressively, the criminal justice system, because it's the same as killing somebody if you get sentenced to prison. Anybody that touches the grounds will be arrested.
See, he's a disgruntled ex-con, right? Sending someone to prison, that's like killing somebody. So he feels like somebody murdered him. Like he equates to him being put in prison for the things he actually did as being murdered. That's how he views the government, whoever did this to him, right? So he's got a chip on his shoulder. Hi, Layla. Nice to see you.
Arrested. Anybody that protests tonight will be arrested. Anybody that goes near the...
So this is the day that he was let out. So now he's putting out all these warnings with all his authority. With all his authority, talking about how anybody who goes out there to protest, they're going to be arrested. You're going to be arrested. You're going to be arrested. You're going to be arrested. Hey, Erica. Arrested. He's always, and you're going to hear this throughout, speaking for the authorities.
The property tonight will be arrested. There's no protest allowed here. They moved it to Philadelphia. So if they're watching this, which they might be, come down and they'll get arrested. I think it's time for them to start ending their little agenda and hold whoever made the shots to do the Cosby coverage at the trials. Those producers should all be fired if they didn't know how to explain this to their audience.
No, because they were too busy programming. Oh, see, y'all got some hot mic moments, huh?
Oh yeah, it's gonna be a fun few weeks. That's why I'm laughing. We haven't put a story out since Mr. Cosby got out of prison, and that scares some people because we've been very active with the Cosby subject. So for there not to be a story, there's a storm coming pretty quick. It's gonna be a nice "we told you so." We actually not only did we get this one right, but it's like we've really got this one right. All of us did. I mean, we've been saying it. We created an army. And the truth is a wild story. I mean, the tablets couldn't make up what happened to Bill Cosby. If anybody got victimized, it was him. Long story short, in 20.
So in his mind, if anybody was victimized, it was Bill Cosby. And now he's about to go on this long yarn about how he's a documentary's coming out. A documentary's coming out in 2022, and this is going to be our "told you so" moment. And guess what? There was a 2022 documentary, and it was the exact opposite. Thank you, white boy. It was the exact opposite of what he said it was going to be. It was a damning portrayal put on by the BBC. No Nick the fucking hat. Who, I don't know, Mona Lisa, somebody, another, Bill Cosby apologist, I guess. So, then we're going to keep listening, and I'm going to show you the fact that in the last year or so, Bill Cosby has come under more fire, more accusations have come out, more accusers have come out, and he's had to foreclose on his home, his $17.5 million home. Thanks a lot. Appreciate that, right, white boy.
2022, we're going to have the documentary come out. And without saying it, there'll be more teasers coming in about a week or two, and we're going to talk. It's going to change this whole Me Too thing. It's going to set the record straight, and the media is going to be forced to make people watch it by citing it, because this is the only time they're going to hear the truth. They're not going to hear no second round from Bill Cosby. I doubt he's going to go on tour. He's not going on a media tour. He's not going to talk to press. Yeah. If we have a documentary, we're not working on, can't say too much. Basically, it's a documentary in 2020.
See, and that's, do you hear the messaging in there? Do you hear the teasing and the messaging. Well, there's going to be a documentary, and Cosby, he's not going to do media. He's only going to be in this documentary. This is the only place you're going to be able to see him. And in a minute, they're going to talk about hot mic moments and how he captured all the hot mic moments of the other reporters and how that's going to be so awesome to put in the documentary. And it never happened. It didn't work out that way, which is just like everything he does. He comes out here, he talks a big game, and as he's teasing it, he's like, well, I shouldn't say much more. I shouldn't say much more. Do you remember hearing that before? Well, we can't talk much more about this thing we're working on. Oh, I'm going to put you all under NDA because this is so secretive. You can't know. Yep, I agree, Gary.
22, that's going to set a lot straight, and it'll explain everything that I wish I can get out, but it's so much, and it's so much. Every day we're learning something, and in fact, maybe in 2 weeks we're going to get more material because we just filed more FOIAs with Kevin Steele's office to find out what they're saying now about Cosby being out. And I could.
So, what you're seeing on screen here is like the most recent things that have been going on with Bill Cosby. Whoopi Goldberg, who had been supporting Bill Cosby, she says information kind of points to guilt. I mean, that's a very weak kind of condemnation, but basically this has not turned out in any way, shape, or form the way NIK had predicted it when they were doing their victory lap. But what he's counting on is that the internet won't remember. A vast majority of the internet won't remember, but the internet is always there. The internet doesn't forget. It's permanent. So we can, every time you fuck up and every time you try to exploit another person's trauma, another person's case, you go ahead and, this is all going to be here for people to see. Thank you so much, One-Eyed Flo. Well, just for that, you deserve this. Welcome to Dragon's Fire. Okay. So let's keep going. Let's keep going.
I can only imagine how sour they are right now and the stuff they're saying via email, because we already put that request in, and this is going to be another batch of new material. It's going to be fresh stuff coming for a very long time until we get the final answer of what happened, or until somebody ends up in jail for something, because this does not sound, there's going to be consequences, maybe not jail.
There's gonna be consequences. Do y'all remember hearing him say that over and over again? There's gonna be consequences. Nope. There was no consequences for the people he was talking about.
It has to be the court of public opinion. It's going to have to fix some things, and Cosby should take the court of public opinion and set it straight.
Again, it's a very serious situation here.
Then he starts up his YouTube channel. He was already on Twitter, but he started up his YouTube channel to do the Danilo Cavalcanti case. And he repeatedly mispronounced Cavalcanti as Cavalante. And I captured those, but I didn't, this video was too long to include every time he said Cavalante. But in this footage, he's portraying himself as the local do-gooder. He's involved in the local, he's a local do-gooder who doesn't want to put out misinformation, but he's the one who has the ties to the police, and he's the one getting the information first. Okay. And he says that over and over and over and over again, and I captured those, but at the same time, I didn't want to make this video any longer than it needed to be. And I don't know what his exact parole restrictions were at that time, but I do know that the judge said that they were not, the judge was quoted as saying that he's not to be in touch with the probation office. But what he did do was be in touch with every other law agency, and he used them to harass people. I don't think so, Callie. I don't think so.
And a lot of locals are watching, and they're relying on information to be kind of.
And listen how serious and almost preppy, almost college-like he sounds here. He's trying to come across as the serious local journalist who doesn't want to put out misinformation. But then when he gets onto Sebastian's case, he's all about the misinformation that he not only thrives on it, he trades on it. It's his equity, the misinformation. He's there to, you know, to be the rabble rouser, right? So anyway.
Vetted before it comes out. And we're not putting out information until we know that it's legitimate. So we'll hold off on any rumors, you know. If anything, it's important to make sure that people keep their guard up until the very end, that until we know 100% that we can say that that is true. Obviously, we're in touch with law enforcement, so when we hear something, you guys will be the first to know. So Sebastian just became my full-time job.
TNN Nurse, hey guys, I'm new here. I'm local to Sebastian Rogers and gathering info on NIK and some others. Thanks for citing this info as well. I feel they believe all of us Tennesseans have the IQ of the Wells. I, for one, do not believe that. I, for one, do not put labels on people based on their geography or what they look like, because people are very, very complicated, and you cannot, you know, the old saying, you cannot judge a book by its cover. And that's why I get so, like, I am so bored by conversations about what color glasses people are wearing. Or, to me, what somebody looks like is a portrayal of how they want to project themselves. And if, you know, when I comment on what somebody looks like for instance, here we got NIK looking like a thug. He's projecting himself as like this, you know, reporter guy with the inside information, who's on the brink of breaking the case. That's what he portrays himself as. And the guy who has the ability to get people onto Netflix if they sign an NDA. I truly believe that's what he sold people on in one way, shape, or form, whether they invested in it monetarily or they invested in it emotionally, or invested in it with their you know, selling out their content just for access to Seth. That's what I believe. So, Chai, here's my thing. Why isn't he in violation status for not paying restitution? I have no idea. I wish I knew the answer to those questions, but I really don't. I promise I've called the PO and asked about the Ellie contact. She told me he's allowed to work with them. I don't know which. Oh, okay. So he's allowed to work with them, but in the updated paperwork, it says he's not allowed to work with them and not allowed to talk about or to the Proudfoots. So anyway, and stupidly, I forgot to put that screenshot in this video. I worked on this really long and I was getting tired, so I forgot.
At the time, I was on YouTube and I was a reporter for another company that's not in charge of a damn thing when it comes to stuff like this. Now, obviously, my career path changed a lot, but that's why I'm still great friends with the police. That's why I get information.
So he came on his channel and basically said every day for about 90 days, about 90 days. I'm going to be here every single day until I'm 70 years old. So he's making these unrealistic promises, future faking. Yeah, I did hear he has a new parole officer. Anyway, I don't, you know, there's like corners of this I don't know, and people are welcome to, you know, fill us in the chat as long as you're being you know, respectful about it. But yeah, you're a liar, NIK. All he does is brag about how close he is to police. He's not all in the way he portrays it, for damn sure. He's not close to any of the people he says he's close to. The only the person who's closest to him is Hong. And Hong just basically does whatever he says to do. Hong is his little bitch boy for, you know, I'm not sure what their arrangement is, but Hong's been his employee, and they have a very much a superior, inferior, not in the terms of people, but in terms of their ranks relationship. Okay. So.
What? 2 weeks before most of the time, and I still don't put it out until day of. Yeah, fake news, real news, call me what you want. I really don't give a shit. You get an answer? Listen, I'm good friends with a lot of FBI agents. We have a lot of relationships with law enforcement. We just got involved about a week ago, and today was the first conference call.
To me, this is the trouble with it. He's been convicted of fraud, impersonating press and the media, the media and law enforcement, and trying to frame law enforcement. And now he's weaponizing law enforcement as if he has no idea, TNN nurse, sorry. But maybe somebody in the chat knows. When, he keeps touting these deep connections and working with law enforcement. And then he weaponizes law enforcement, and maybe something else was found in the back, but he keeps threatening law enforcement on people and acting like he has the authority to pull a lever and make law enforcement do what he wants them to do. And he puts that out and he puts that out. And then he also does the same about celebrities. No one, I'm telling you, no one has that power, even, especially to pull a lever that would bring down the full force of Donald Trump and the US government. It's ridiculous, but people bought this bullshit. And you just gotta stop buying into these kinds of people. He's not legitimate. He's as legit. I mean, hopefully these people are seeing it by now, but this type of stuff is just going to keep going on. I swear.
With individuals from At Night, individuals from Dog's Team, us, also an individual from the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation. Everything that the company that offered to conduct services is doing, they're working in collaboration with authorities, guys. So we spoke with TBI yesterday. Great call, conversation with Special Agent Simmons. He is in charge of the case for TBI. I'm sure you've seen his name, Bobby Simmons. Amazing man, very dedicated to the case. And he is thankful that we are here. When you have a private contractor that employs everybody.
So he's, he's like, he's probably had all of 1 5-minute exchange with this, Agent Simmons, but he's going to blow smoke up his ass, call him a great man, and then speak for him. The audacity, the unmitigated gall to say, I can speak for him when I say these things is, you can't assume that. That's when you know that somebody has boundary issues, is when they speak for you with no authority to do so.
From former AGs to former feds to experts to body language experts that testified at trials like the Kennedy, JFK. Literally, there is somebody that is still at the firm. It's an immediate relative of the body language expert from JFK's trial. Like, these guys hire those people, and that's why their clientele there's literally, it just says their retainers $500,000, call us, and that's the minimum. But that's why they charge that, because you don't get that kind of service unless it's a big job, right?
Yep, he's always been talking his big game, and I mean, I've got that right here. I got that right here. The satellite. Stupid, idiotic. Where is it? Damn it. Sometimes I get too many clips in here. Here it is. There he is with the fake satellite. I got to take your chat down so we can see it. While we currently don't have any satellites in orbit after he's completely okay. I mean, that was like one of the first indications. I mean, I already could kind of see through them, but like one of the first indications, like bald face proof, was when they were called out by the satellite company. I knew, absolutely insane. All right, let's keep going.
and you need a lot of money, unfortunately. But before any of you guys knew I was actually going to tweet, I'm looking for information, we were in talks with TBI. We were in talks with the FBI. We were in talks with our contacts in DC. FBI is going to bolster their team. TBI is going to bolster their team. And we're going to have a lot of people looking for answers. Mr. Simmons, Special Agent Simmons, who is a godsend, a great guy, great law enforcement. He's on the case. We had to talk about YouTube. And that was kind of one of the center points of my conversation with Special Agent Simmons. It was about YouTube, guys. Whatever Seth tells at night.
See, he's like, I had a conversation with Agent Simmons, and guess what? We talked about YouTube. Hi, Adrian. Nice to see you. We talked about YouTube. I told mommy on you. Mommy knows about you now, and now they're watching you. That's what he does.
Agents and dogs agents is immediately relayed to TBI, to the FBI, and let them find out that they did nothing. Boy, the fines that they're going to get hit with. There goes their budget, defunded. If you guys didn't do your job, you better start now. Because the reason that the U.S. government and other agencies, but mostly the U.S. government, they work a lot with private contractors. For example, there'll be a call with, I don't know the governor's name in Tennessee, I'm sorry, but One World's attorney is going to speak with the governor out in Tennessee because One World's attorney is the former Pennsylvania Attorney General, right? They have done a lot.
So this is his string of legal heft coming down on all of you boogeymen. So remember, he's pitching he's trying to wear many hats at the same time to the YouTube crowd and to Seth and the green team. He's the man who's actually, working on this hunt and trying to find Sebastian, and that's all he cares about. So he has to portray that image. But in order to sell this amazing Netflix documentary that he's been working on practically all his life, he has to make it a bigger story than it is. He has to make it something that it isn't, right? And so that everything should be seen through that lens and the way he talks about it.
A lot of rather newsworthy stuff. They have successfully gotten people into Me Too and out of Me Too, which is wild, right? So they helped the government get certain people into the Me Too situation, and because they needed to, they were monsters, and then they helped others get out of it, which is wild. They are able to do that kind of stuff. I go to their following, and those are the kind of people they have. I mean, it's wild. The Clinton Foundation,
Right? Can you imagine how much harder he sold this to the people that actually bought into this bullshit and signed on that dotted line and said, yeah, Nick, I'll lie right along with you. Yeah. And you notice how he's talking about that private agency, those people, as if I wholeheartedly believe that he created this pop-up agency and connected it to One World, and so he's the guy, but he slips up sometimes and he says we, and then he says they, and then he has to create distance from it because he knows he's really not supposed to be playing in those realms, right? There's some sort of restriction against him that he crossed, which is why he can't play online anymore. There's a reason for that.
the Stallones of the world, Miramax, Warner Brothers, people that need answers that are way, the higher ups, and the companies that can't get it without hiring former intelligence officers.
Agencies. I mean, everybody from the FBI in Memphis, Homeland Security in Memphis, Customs and Border Patrol, the Department of Justice today, we spoke to the Department of Justice. So again, there are updates behind the scenes happening.
Have one guy saying he calls my parole. It's very strange behavior. Do you really?
So now, when he's speaking in the realm of somebody called my parole, said strange behavior, he's starting to sound more and more thug-like and like this and like, and as the days progress, because generally these are in the order of when hello Maria, generally they are in order of you know, the day that they appeared. They go in succession because there was definitely a ramp up. So you see, as he gets more threatened and as people start reporting his fuck shit and stuff like that, he gets more thuggish and he speaks more like this. And he's like, "Hey, you want to come at me? I'll come at you. You want to come at me? I'll come at you." Yeah, it's crazy.
Really think they don't know I'm on it. Like, literally, guys, you're not giving any new information. Hey, do you guys know Nick the Hat is on parole? Well, yes, we do. You're calling the Pennsylvania Board of Parole. So obviously we know who he is, what laws were broken.
One of the attorneys is the former attorney general.
One of the attorneys is the former attorney general.
Again, one of our attorneys is the former attorney general. He represents One World.
Now, something I want to point out that I didn't point out specifically in this video, but I want to point out here is that it is very interesting how this attorney general and Nick the Hat and Lesniak all came together, right? Well, the attorney general, Bruce Castor, was the attorney general that was caught up in the rigmarole around Bill Cosby's release. And I don't know all the details, and you know, maybe people in the chat can fill those details in. I don't know all those details of what happened, but I know that Bruce Castor was disgraced over what he did in that case. Okay. So somehow Bruce Castor and then Lesniak, who has been who's been involved in that case and has been involved with Nick and Hong all this time, they all got together back in those days. They've been writing, you know, what's the word? I mean, I don't know. They've been writing together all this time. So when Bruce Castor put out those emails saying, you know, I'm not involved in this case, and then he didn't denounce being put on the paperwork, like that he's not going to complain about it. I knew that there's some incentive for him. There's some, in my view, there's some sort of corruption there. I don't know for sure, but it seems like there's some sort of corruption there. Yeah, it was. Yeah, I think it was a very short time, if I recall correctly, one shot. I think you're right.
He represents One World with Joseph Lesniak. So you have former attorney general on there. You have a chief prosecutor. These guys know the law, guys. And what are they going to do? Criminally charge our lawyers for saying, hey, if you guys want, we'll offer this and we'll try to make it work. One of the attorneys is the former attorney general. Okay, so we'll get that done. It's not going to take 6 months. It's not going to take a year. It's not going to take 2 years. Give us a couple of weeks. Give us a month and watch how fast stuff gets done.
And watch how fast that's done. And as we go along, he amps it up more and more and more. And this is just the portion. This is just the portion of his, you know, Bruce Castor legal papers coming, you know, segment. This is just where he's constantly dropping the legal threats and the legal names and all that shit, right? But it just keeps ramping up and ramping up. And then we'll get to the part where he's talking about the press. And then we'll get to the part where he's basically giving his idea for the Netflix pitch, where he mentions Netflix himself several times. Okay, he did not anticipate that anti-SLAPP. If he's really playing the kind of chess that he thinks he is, he would have known that anti-SLAPP would have slapped him down, and it did.
Freedom of speech does not protect you from the consequences of speaking freely, guys. Kate, where are you going to come and look for your kid? Chris, are you going to come and look? It's time for people to start asking.
So literally the day or 2 days before he started saying this on his channel, Kate, where are you? Where are you? You going to come looking for your kid? 2 days before that, he was like, we're not going to talk about the mom and the dad. We're not even going to say their name. If you even say CP and KP in the chat, you're going to get blocked. And he went on so long about that I couldn't include everything. He did an entire like practical stream about how they were never going to talk about the parents again. And then he comes back spewing this shit. So you can't believe a word out of his mouth from one day to the next, much less a fucking legal filing. So if anybody's trying to hang on to those coattails for the next ride, you get what you deserve. Yeah, that gangsta voice.
Asking those questions. Don't hide in your little house. We're coming for you. If you are responsible, you better bet your bottom dollar. Save money for an attorney, and you need a very good one. If you
all the lawyer fees.
And then Nick started getting warned. People started reporting him, and people started, saying he's fucking with them behind the scenes and stuff like that, calling his parole officer. And the parole officer warned him about, there was some sort of appeal process or something like that. So he's point being that Nick started to kind of wind back his presence on his channel, and he deputized Hong. He deputized Hong to do the shit talking. Okay. And so then Hong just comes in and says some really disgusting shit. I mean, I'm not surprised, but he also reveals some things about himself. Let's listen.
Running around trying to shut up people, paying people to attack other people. Like, that money is going to run out. So how's that going to live a lavish life for you guys? And there's a reason we're in the law office at 10:35. Like, this is not a joke. Like I said, I don't just talk the talk. I walk the walk. And when you piglets that's oinking away that piss.
Remember how the E's, hello, I'm fucking raking. Thank you. Appreciate that. Remember how the E so helpfully pointed out that when you start dehumanizing people, you're getting ready to justify your, war upon them and all the other shit that you do upon them. Well, here's Hong talking about the piglets oinking, and then in a future clip, you're gonna hear Nick talking about the skunks, all those skunks over there spraying, dehumanizing people. And now let's keep going, and you'll see Hong get into the histrionics, the physical slapstick histrionics. I mean, he's just really convincing us with the props that he means business, man.
Piss me off, like the best, like one of the best attorneys that represented me said.
One of the best attorneys that represented me. Excuse me, Mr. Hong Ji. Hey, Granny. Hey, Granny, if you want to come up, I chatted you the StreamYard link. So, wait. How many times have you had a lawyer representing you, Mr. Hong? And for what? Are you also a criminal? Are you also a criminal who, with multiple charges, who's just looking for your, looking for a major, looking for your hero story out, looking for that global, validation of what an amazing hero you are? We have a special guest. We have a defendant.
Dun, dun, dun. Oh my goodness. I never realized that Hong has been in trouble before too. That's interesting.
Yeah, he just basically said it, right? Let's hear that again.
Mm-hmm.
Taking away that pissed me off, like the best, like one of the best attorneys that represented me said.
One of the best attorneys. How many attorneys? And what were they representing you for? For your millions?
Right. Oh, very interesting.
And do you know a little bit more about what was Bruce Castor's role in the whole Bill Cosby thing? I think you might know a little bit more about that than I do.
Oh, yeah. So Bruce Castor, he was actually the district attorney, and he
Right.
made a deal with Bill Cosby in 2014 to secure a deposition in a civil case. So he basically said to, he made the deal that with Cosby to obtain his deposition in exchange to promise not to prosecute Cosby. So what people don't realize, though, is that
right.
But what people don't realize is that Bruce Castor was actually friendly with the attorney that represented the woman, Andrea Costin, during that whole civil case. And attorneys do like a referral payment, right? It's usually 20% of whatever the attorney makes on that case is what they'll give, or it's some type of number, whatever it is. So he basically said to Bill Cosby, we'll go ahead and give you immunity. We won't use whatever you say during this to prosecute you. And thank goodness that was, later on overturned, because Bill Cosby belonged or deserved to have,
Yeah.
But yeah, and then Bruce Castor. So meanwhile, Nick's the only, quote unquote news that is reporting in favor of Bill Cosby. And Joseph Lasniak was working with Bill Cosby's PI person at that time. So they were all intermingled in that as well.
Right.
Dirty dealings.
So they're all neat, like they are up to their fucking eyeballs in dirty corrupt bullshit, criminal, weaving in between the lines of criminal law, and then expected to file a major civil RICO case. I mean, with that guy, I mean, it's just unbelievable. So now he's about to get into some like physical histrionics here. Watch.
Power only understands power. So like, if you think that you're strong arming me, best believe I'm coming in. I am coming in faster, harder than before, buddy. All right.
The cease and desist.
Did you see that head tilt? That wasn't the histrionics I was talking about. It must be in a clip coming up where he actually throws a folder. But did you see that head tilt? Come on, buddy. I mean, literally the people they're hanging around with and they are emulating are fucking thugs. Okay. And that's why some people are attracted to these guys. Watch this head tilt again.
Coming in faster, harder than before, buddy. All right.
All right.
All right. Like anybody's intimidated by these little 4-foot dwarfs. Like
I know.
They really think. I mean, I'll never forget when Nick said to me, "Power recognizes power." Because I thought, you're damn right, motherfucker. And I recognize you have none. Let's go.
Right. Exactly.
Like he really believes that he can strong arm his way around using these big names and stuff, when in all actuality, he is a nobody. He is frowned upon, as is his little corrupt buddies in our area.
Yeah.
But to anybody who doesn't live here and doesn't know better, they do think, oh, Bruce Castor, yeah, I heard his name before. Yes, because Trump hated him, and because of what he did with Cosby. He was disgraced when he left here. People hear of Nick the Hat and they think of Danilo Cavalcante because of JLR, but then a quick Google search will show you who exactly he is. And then Hung, all he does is flex these $1,000 shoes and these cars that aren't even licensed. Like they just really think that there's something powerful. And I guess when they put on those Kmart Power Ranger costumes, maybe they feel powerful, and good for them.
Yeah, they're big ballin'. Look at that.
Is that that's really like, if they can move the, wow.
It was some
Is this a real photo?
Yeah, it's from an Instagram.
Why does it look so like grainy and weird? And oh my God, they're such insults. Sorry. This photo has, I haven't been laced since 1993, and Hung's trying to grab the other guy's ass. I mean, that's what this. Sorry. You know damn well Hung toppled over right as soon as this clicked. He toppled backwards.
Yeah, he's like, take the picture,
Hurry out. No wonder his shoes are all like dented in where they were trying to hold that weight. And I may add, he's bigger now, Hung's bigger now, and Nick is skinnier, believe it or not.
Yeah, that's noticeable. That's absolutely noticeable. So yeah. So
Wow.
by the way, that one chatter was talking. It's actually not a book. I'm sorry, it's not a film or a video. It's a book that he wrote about how to get away with,
What I say, did you see? I saw this today. So Lasniak actually defended a man. And listen, I know everybody deserves a defense, so I'm not necessarily using that against him.
Right.
But surely enough, he did defend a man from our area that was sentenced to, he was a 59-year-old man, sentenced to 16 to 32 years after a 7-year-old.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
And this is Lasniak's statement. Defense attorney Joseph Lasniak noted the rape of a child charge comes with a 10-year mandatory minimum sentence, which he argued should be enough time for Gillard to receive the treatment he needs. While the judge had rattled off a robust prior criminal history, including 12 arrests and 4 convictions, Lasniak noted the last of these came more than a decade before these charges were brought and would be too old to add anything to sentencing consideration. Lasniak added that his client did go through some rough times decades ago, including a stabbing and a shooting. Oh, poor creepy perv.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
No, guys like that, they rarely change. People who have taken their predatory behavior that far rarely can change that. You know what I'm saying? So I mean,
well, and a lot of times, and no implication here whatsoever, take it how you will. A lot of times these type of people hide themselves amongst the good guys, right? Like, let's say I'm actually a sicko, and the best way to disguise that is I'm going to spend 10 years and defending and protecting children from sex crimes.
Right. And there's many different reasons to do that. One is to be able to get close to the prey, right? And the other is to figure out what the law enforcement methods are to capturing you so that you can avoid capture.
Yep. And then maybe you'll go on and write a book and teach others how to avoid capturing.
Exactly. And so I believe that's, that's just like Brian Kohberger. I fully believe that Brian Kohberger was studying all that shit so he could figure out how to get away with it. Right.
It's just like perps returning to a crime scene. Do you know how often that happens? They like to see what they caused.
Exactly. They revel in it. They revel in it. So I truly feel that in Nick's situation, he's not a reformed criminal. He's still a criminal who's just, positioning himself in such a way that he's in the know, but he's in the know because he's a criminal. Okay.
Right. He's in the know of his own shit that he fabricates. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Okay. I'll keep going.
The cease and desist demands were much more specific, very specific, outlining alleged crimes that are believed to have happened between individuals who received the letters. It's as simple as that. And they are asked to stop the criminal activity. At this point, it's clear there are lawyers involved.
See, now that is like straight up defamation.
And at this point, it's clear to know that there are not lawyers involved. There was one lawyer involved, but yes.
Right. But, and
it is defamatory.
Yeah, because they keep saying he specifically, Nick says, and anybody can dispute me if they want, but do you not hear the same exact messages flowing from the green team? It's like he says it and they go out and they spread it, right?
Right.
He's the messaging architect. Hey, barbecue.
Right, because he's the paid agitator. He's the face of it all. He is the man behind the curtain.
He's the architect.
Right.
He's the messaging architect, right? He's the fuck shit architect. So all of the accusations, they flow from him. And the next thing I forget I was going to say, so I'm going to just keep going.
They're fake lawyers. Go with whatever you want to say. But the fake lawyers are sending you very real paperwork, and it's a lot longer than a sentence about Sebastian. It outlines the crimes alleged.
Oh yeah, that's what he keeps talking about, how you guys committed crimes.
Yeah.
That
Well,
we
first
commit-
off, I didn't receive a cease and desist, so he's not speaking to me at this moment, surely, because I never received one.
right, but he's trying to portray that several people received them when it was just at this point barbecue, I think. Or
I think Clue did as well.
oh, okay, right. So, oh, right, I forgot about that.
Hey, 57.
So yeah, I mean, but he's out there saying they committed crimes and these crimes, and this is once again, you have to see this through the lens.
He's so stupid. What's up, rapper?
I banned him.
Yeah. He'll come back under another name and another name. They'll all be names of creators, so just keep your eyes open.
Yeah, I am.
But that's I hate that they say this, Lynn. I hate that they say breaking crimes, right? They're breaking crimes. They're breaking crimes. Well, first off, I never even heard it like, and I the worst speaker of all. I say things ass backwards all the time. Matter of fact, ironically, they try to mock me for saying breaking crimes, and I'm like, I'm quoting you, you morons. You're the ones that said it, not me. But this idea that I'm out here committing all these crimes, and I would like to add that although the judge disagreed entirely with them and said they did not make out one singular claim with actual proof, they are still in their little, you guys got another code red. Maybe it's code Baja this time, but you got another code going on because there's more moles. And they're still in these rooms pushing this rhetoric that I'm conspirizing all these things, and that each of these things I'm conspirizing are different federal codes to crimes.
Right.
And it's like, who do you people think you are? Just because you're a snitch doesn't make you an FBI agent. I know they made you feel real special, but I promise the moment they kicked you out of their office, they thought you were a piece of shit too. Like, you're not a cop.
Can you imagine how much he must have gotten stroked by the, manipulative FBI agents who are just trying to make him feel special in order to make him feel this way? You know what I mean?
Absolutely. He probably thought he was one of them. I'm one of the boys, and felt all cool and shit. And then I promised the moment that he left, these guys were like, what a piece of shit this kid is.
You're the man, dude. Oh my God. Dog the Bounty Hunter. He's our hero.
Wow. Then they're Googling, is Dog the Bounty Hunter still alive?
Yeah.
Oh, what a shame.
Jesus Christ. Hey, I showed this clip earlier, by the way.
Did you like zoom into his face, or is he just awkwardly holding it that close?
Oh no, I zoomed in.
Okay, thank you. All right.
But I had to show everybody earlier. This is what I look like when I'm laughing over here behind the camera.
Double check to make sure that everything meets its criteria of being correct and factual.
That is funny.
I actually remember that. I remember that.
That's okay. All right. Let's keep going.
Never too late. And the creators that received those notices, it's not the end of the world at all. Obviously, we have lawyers.
Look at that cute little peachy hair.
Going into the federal courts.
Yeah,
we don't
tried.
want to take the route, but we are, right? Like
federal courts again. We have for these attorneys going into the federal court. Meanwhile, all they had was Greasynack standing there sweating his ass off. Confused.
Yeah, he's like, this is getting federal, guys, and he's like, I haven't slept so much that I haven't even shaved. Look at me, guys.
Look at my little peachy hairs. Hong really likes them. The fact, I mean, even right here, he's like, it's not the end of the world, guys. No, you didn't intimidate any of us. I know you've really tried there, Nick, and we give you an A for effort, okay? But you didn't scare you. It didn't work, buddy. Oh,
that's why it's so funny to look back on, like all the fucking smack talk. And
yeah.
Just come on, Granny. Come on, Granny. They're using you, Granny. They're
gonna run you over. They're throwing you under the bus, Granny.
Yeah.
They're throwing you. Come. We'll give a wing over you. We'll take you under our wings to save you from barbecuing her sleazy attorney. Just call Lasniak. Love it.
I mean, their world is so fucking, like, they portray that they have such a big world around them, but it's so fucking small when you hear the words coming out of their mouths,
Right. When you actually know who and what they are, it's like it is comical to an extent, but it's also concerning because they believe themselves to an extent. You can't deny that.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. Oh, yeah.
And
They talk
it's
themselves
scary.
into this. Yeah.
Right.
They have to live the part in order to convince the people that they're trying to convince, right?
Right.
So they have to kind of live in it.
Matter of fact, Racken, I believe, is going to be live later after you, and she's going to reveal Nick's the transcripts from Nick's hearing, where you will literally hear that be stated that this guy's delusional, that he really lives in this fantasy world where he is like a police officer, and that he's a danger.
Oh, the trial, you mean?
The trial, yes.
Yeah, I read those. I didn't read the entire transcripts, but I read part of it. I read part of it. That'll be awesome.
It'll be a really good one. I'm excited for it.
That's cool.
We have to set an example. At the end of the day, they're going to phase themselves out. That's the best I can say right now. We are very quickly litigating with a few of these individuals, and the rest are going to phase themselves out, right, guys? Because, I mean, at the end of the day, somebody's going to have an example set. One of the creators that wants to push it and gung-ho it to the finish line. It's expensive.
Woo! We made it! We made it to the finish line, motherfuckers. And we actually fast forwarded the court hearing by having attorneys that filed an anti-SLAPP, which made the court proceeding go quicker, Nick. So no, it wasn't 10 years in litigation. And albeit it was expensive, we will and are going to get those dollars back. So everything he's saying here is so cute. And the only people that are fading themselves out are the green team, because every single day they have another one coming to their senses and running to me with their tail between their legs, begging for forgiveness and giving me insider source, Nick. Who the fuck's Kessler, buddy? You better code red. We got another loose one.
So people are in the chat are asking who is it that's going live to read the
right here,
and it's I'm fucking raking.
Yeah, I'm fucking raking on the screen right there. I'll share it out when it's time and everything. Keep a lookout.
Yeah.
So
anyway, so notice how the more desperate and the more angry and fearful he gets, the more he bares his teeth when he's talking.
I thought that's because they're about to fall out. I didn't think it was anything else but falling out. You should have seen him in the courtroom. He's so much skinnier that his teeth look gigantic because he lost a tremendous. I exaggerate now. If you don't believe me, go back to my August of 2023 videos during the Danilo Cavalcante. You will see Nick and Hong within them. And Nick was a chubby guy. And when we seen him at court, the judge said, like, oh, I recognize you, Nick. And at first he smiled and they popped out. I mean, it was like, I thought, they were going to come out. He was that thin. And then she's like, I remember you from a few different situations. And his smile surely like dwindled. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But no, he is very, very fragile, that his teeth literally look like they will pop out any moment.
They do. And that's why he reminds me a lot of this guy. I just got to say, and I put this at the end of this video, but I'm going to show it right here.
Well, I'm not a crook.
But I'm not a crook. That's like, I swear to God, I'm not going to lie to you. Let me be honest with you.
Yeah. I'm not a crook. So
I'm not a crook.
That's yet another person who came off as very legitimate, so legitimate he was elected to the president of the United States. And then he had to resign, and he went around saying,
well, I'm not a crook.
I think that's kind of how Bruce Castor resigned as well. Or not resigned, but left the position. Like, but I'm not a crook.
Right. I'm not a crook. So... and they called Richard Nixon Tricky Dick. So now we've got Tricky Nick.
He'd probably be flatter for the comparison.
Yeah, probably. Oh, look, you can see the Coke can in his hand that's
a Red Bull.
Oh, whatever it is. Yeah.
He walks around with a Red Bull and an iPhone and tells everybody he works for the elite. It's pretty funny.
And a vape. There's a vape in his hand too.
I forget the vape because the elite doesn't work behind an office desk.
Yeah.
Trust us. We know. We've been there before and we're going back again. The warning shot was fired very loudly. No threats. And there's no such thing as a threat with a lawsuit. It's not a threat. You're going to get sued. If it's a bogus lawsuit, you sue them back. Welcome to the legal system. That's how it works. I guess you get sued. You have to answer to it. You don't. It's on them. They'll answer.
So what Nick just said there proves more than ever that he was unaware that PA had recently adapted the anti-SLAPP law, because that is how it works, right? If you get sued and it's bogus, then you would file back a malicious, you know, a dragonetti, if you will. But thank God PA adapted the anti-SLAPP, but I'll be sure to play that before the judge with the punitive damages to let them know that this guy knew damn well he was bringing a bogus suit, but thought that we would have to spend 10 years litigating it. And by that time, we'd be so exhausted, we would surely never sue him back.
At the end of the last line of this video I'm playing is him saying that it's going to be 6 years. You guys, yep, 6 years.
He said 10 on the one before.
Well, he says 10, and he goes back and forth, but he anyway, I'll keep going. You'll see.
To it, because their channels will be suspended. And if they just say, we never got this, and then their account is frozen and they gotta respond to get back in, then we know they got served, right, guys? A lot of the moderators that work at these channels, you really think we don't talk to them a lot? Guys.
Now he's like, we got moles, baby. We've breached the wall. We've breached your boundaries. We know what's going on. They tell us what you're doing. So
you know,
us.
If I could be honest, I don't think he was referring to moderators. I think he's referring to those who work at YouTube.
No, he actually said moderators.
No, I know he did, but he does go on to say, like he just said, like, we'll lose our channels and stuff. He does go on to say that he's been talking to YouTube. Matter of fact, he's good friends with Zuckerberg, is what he said, because he didn't even know who ran YouTube, I suppose. So it made me wonder. I thought the same thing. Did he actually mean moderators, or did he mean those that monitor YouTube?
No, he actually, I think, I'm not sure if I kept it in this clip, but let's listen again, because
look at him look at himself on the phone right there, Lynn.
I know.
He's such a nerd.
No threats, and there's no such thing as a threat with a lawsuit. It's not a threat. You're going to get sued. If it's a bogus lawsuit, you sue them back. Welcome to the legal system. That's how it works, right, guys? You get sued, you have to answer to it. You don't, it's on them. They'll answer to it because their channels will be suspended. And if they just say, we never got this, and then their account is frozen and they gotta respond to get back in, then we know they got served, right, guys? A lot of the moderators that work.
See? It's the dumbest thing I ever heard. Also, I wonder if I should now send my lawsuit off to YouTube Legal to let them know that these guys lost, since we're, in the business of taking down channels and all.
Oh yeah, I mean,
sounds like that was their plan.
Yep, that was part of the. There's a difference. This is the legal threats section. In the future section is where he's giving his big Netflix. He keeps pushing the Netflix plot, and part of that Netflix plot is how Mark Zuckerberg's going to get involved.
Mark Zuckerberg. And guess what? May I add that, so when I initially hired attorneys, they immediately put in for the SLAPP, and our entire filing was based on SLAPP. It wasn't even a preliminary objections. It was simply SLAPP. And in that, I state that he stated he was in cahoots with names such as Mark Zuckerberg and Donald Trump. He came back and denied that. He denied ever saying it. Yeah.
Because he literally just decided what he was going to do was go live every day and talk smack, and he doesn't even remember what he says.
Right.
So
just like the rest of them.
Look at these
channels.
You really think we don't talk to them a lot? Guys, use your common sense. It's not that crazy to do. Common sense suggests
it's not that crazy to do.
Meanwhile, it was his green team mods that were actually moles the entire time and giving me insider information. But go on with your bid. It's not that crazy to do.
I'm a counter-espionage agent, and I got people everywhere.
Him and Hong. I can't believe they have the nerve to talk about how anybody speaks. The way Hong types is the most uneducated thing I've ever seen. The fact that he would even try to sell himself as working for the elite when this guy cannot conduct a proper sentence structure at all.
I know. Crazy.
I mean, it is unbelievable. He says is instead of it's. I don't know why, but
yeah.
Hey, Sammy.
Hey, Sammy.
that your circles are not very airtight, that information gets out. When you guys share documents with each other, it always gets to us. It does. We're kind of the final line of defense. And you can bite us, you can scratch us, but certain words, like I will kill you, will result in federal action. We bite back.
See, he keeps accusing them of crimes, like saying, we will kill you. We will kill you, and never showed any proof of it. Asshole.
But we bite back in court. We bite back with the feds in a federal courthouse. This might be my only live this week because I'm still obviously waiting to go through a few things that we are filing today.
What's that saying,
tomorrow,
Lynn?
Today.
What?
What's that saying? All bark and no bite?
Yeah.
I guess those dentures wouldn't really get through the meat of it, would it? You couldn't even get yourself to a federal court. The funniest thing that cracked me up is the idea that this judge, and may my dream come true, makes each plaintiff come to the courtroom, right? They wanted to use PA courts, come visit them. That's the way I feel about it, and I hope she feels the same. And this idea that Betty and Brittany are going to be up at Superior Court looking for the courtroom that while we're all at while we're all at the common courts is going to be hysterical.
That is a funny, a funny visual of thinking of them being over in a completely different courthouse, demanding to have their day in court in front of a federal judge,
holding their victim statement packet.
They're like in front of Diddy's judge, going, "Diddy's judge, it's our turn." We're on the docket today. Oh my God.
Today's Monday. Yeah. So Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So all up until Friday, we have filings coming out. There is going to be a development in the skunk lawsuit today.
Now look, now he doesn't have his sunglasses on, and you could see more like the stark fucking terror in his eyes.
Yeah. And speaking of skunks, I just got sent 2 lovely shirts from a subscriber that are skunks wearing punching bags, punching gloves. They're actually adorable. So whoever sent them, thank you very much. They're cute. I like them a lot.
Skunk punching gloves? That's cute.
It's like a skunk boxing. Because that's what he kept putting in my chat that day. I'm the queen skunk and the skunk. So really cute. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Very cute.
Today or tomorrow timing, but keep refreshing that docket and you guys are going to see an update on the docket. Definitely keep watching that. As for the skunks,
let's not dehumanize people, right, Mr. and Mrs. E? No dehumanizing. No.
Oh, skunks actually represent power, really, if you think about it. The skunks are honored in many other cultures as like spunk and power and like the underdog, and they actually have a good meaning behind them. So they may have thought that they were, insulting people, but the fact is, no, I don't think so.
Yeah. Look at his face there. He looks fucking terrified. He's like, why? And there's a considerable section in this particular video where he's like, come on, you guys, call me, like, email me, call me, you can get out of this. It's not too late. This is, you don't want to get past this. It's going to be too late by the time it's all, Yes.
Is this the one where he's speaking directly to me?
Yeah, he does speak directly to you at the end of this video, and but it's in another part of this video I'm showing.
Okay, yeah, because he does the whole it's not too late. You're gonna go live every day to make enough gas money, go to get in and out of court for the next 10 years.
Yep, I got that in here. Yep.
People usually settle with us because the day that they filed this, Nick was in the E's that night saying people usually settle with us.
Yep, that's right. I got that. I got that right here. Where do I got that? Did I take it out of this? No, I didn't. Here it is. No charge, no money, nonsense ends Monday. They sign Tuesday. It's all dismissed Wednesday. So this doesn't say everybody usually dismissed, but he says that a few times in his videos.
He does, yeah. And then I have the screenshot of him around the same time saying he was just deputized. So he will be making arrests and asking questions later. And to clarify, in the spiritual meanings, a skunk symbolizes self-respect, boundaries, and the ability to defend oneself assertively.
Oh,
So,
well, see,
yeah.
he was at power recognizes power.
Power.
Hey, nonsense. Welcome in. Okay.
Hey, white
Has a
boy
lot of
nonsense.
chances, and I am very interested to see what the court's reaction is going to be. Because
what you
love
think?
me if you want.
Well, what you end up thinking, Nikki? You know.
Hate me if you want. Call me a.
Huh?
I was going to say the Harvard graduate just simply, it was too complex for her after all.
Yeah, it was too complex. She didn't want to read through all those documents, and she doesn't know YouTube. It was just too complicated for her.
Yeah.
It was clearly too
She's just clearly acknowledged every single complaint, every single paragraph, every single page, but she surely didn't read through it all. Never.
took it at every possible angle it could be taken at, even though even though they claim Rico, they're really claiming defamation. So she considers all of it, right? And she made that clear. She made that very clear. Yep.
Fraud if you want, call me fake news if you want, call me a felon if you want, call me a parolee if you want. The law is the law. So when you go into court, you can't tell the judge, Your Honor.
Oh my God. It's funny. You broke out laughing the exact same time I did in my video, and I was screen recording it. I broke out laughing. Let's hear that again.
Fraud if you want, call me fake news if you want, call me a felon if you want, call me a parolee if you want. The law is the law. So when you go into court, you can't tell the judge, Your Honor, he's on parole, so I can get. Please give me a break.
So actually, you can.
Yeah.
You can absolutely go into a courtroom. It's called the clean hands clause. So yeah, you can actually go into a courtroom and say, Your Honor, he's a parolee. You can do that, buddy.
Yeah. And well, but the thing is that he's like confusing people intentionally, right? Because it does go majorly to credibility, you know. And like, so yeah, you're not going to be as credible if you do this shit, if you have a record of pulling this shit over and over. And if you're out here accusing a bunch of people of Rico in fraudulent paperwork and you're convicted of fraud, sorry, but that's not going to work out for you. It's not going to work out well. It's not going to look good. They're not going to say, oh, you've reformed yourself. We can clearly see that when you just filed fraudulent paperwork, in my opinion.
And not only that, but he literally, it was stated like they call me fake news. They call me like everything he just said here that we can call him. He actually cried about being called. So
yep, exactly. He did a whole thing about body shaming, you know, and you know, it's disgusting to body shame. And then, you know, he's got Hong out there deputized to body shame everybody that comes against them. So fuck him.
Right. And the whole no doxing, you know, if you've been doxed, email us at. Meanwhile, they're the ones doxing everybody. Like, unbelievable.
No, they weaponize the courts to dox everybody. I mean,
right. Well, and they were also doxing on their ex without the court filing. Like, they were just literally, they doxed me. They doxed my family before they filed this litigation. And then that's what their little Discord, little rooms, that's what they were for. Digging into people and doxing them.
And I distinctly remember when they were threatening to add more people, and they were saying, "Oh, look, we just filed these paper against White Boy," and they doxed White Boy.
Yeah,
they screenshotted like their complaint against White Boy, and then put his name and address and everything in it, and said, "Look, we've just filed this." And so it was once again weaponizing court papers to dox somebody.
You're so right. And then meanwhile, their plaintiffs who knowingly signed up for this cry that they're being doxxed when the litigation papers are shown. It's like, are you freaking kidding me?
It's unbelievable.
And there are more people that are being added. That is, I guess, the big news. Not really big news. It's just a few more. And guess what? There's going to be 50 people by the end of this. So more are being added as of yesterday. More defendants have been added to the case. Not many, but we are aiming for 50. And that's the number that we have. It's not a joke. It's not a joke at all.
Did you insert Queen's screenshot at that point?
I should have.
where he's in private saying like, oh, we really have no intent on suing you, but don't tell anybody.
Yeah.
We just want to see if we can get a reaction. And then, may I add, they decided to change, which they had no permission to do so. It was 1 through 50, and then they changed it 1 through 14.
Right.
So
they are so fucking dirty and duplicitous. It's fucking crazy that anyone would believe one word before it even comes out of their mouth. They come to the table as adjudicated liars. Okay. I mean, everything that comes through them should be seen as a scam.
Everything.
It's off the table. Like I said, what?
Look what One Eye Flo said. If there were 50 people and they wanted 500 from each of them, look at the number they would have came up with. Their supposed initial retainer fee. Because at first they said their retainer fee was 200. Didn't they at first say it was $250,000 and then it was $500,000 to retain them? Anybody else remember this? I initially remember them saying that that's how much it costs to retain them, and then they doubled it to 500.
There's one part of their website that says we won't take anything less than between 15,000 and $1 million. Yeah. And that's on one part of their page. And then on another part of the page, it says our minimum as of September 4th. So it was basically predicated on this case.
Right.
$500K.
Because they thought they were going to make the big leagues. They thought they were really going to, we were going to settle, and they would have this under their belt, and they were going to go forth and present this all and become like this, I think this was them building this idea of being a private intelligence group. And then the next family was going to say, hey, you were able to stop all those horrible, mean things on the internet. Can you help us? Because they're doing it to us too. And then they were going to go forth in that format.
Yep.
Wow.
So do you see the thing on the screen? It says, I've always been confused. What was supposed to happen if you gave him $500? If you gave him 500, then we're supposed to leave YouTube?
Well, pretty much. So hold on one second. He wanted me to pay 500 and then sign a paper stating I would no longer bully. And then I would essentially refrain from any commentary on them, as well as tell my audience to refrain on any commentary on them and blah, blah, blah. It was like the most unconstitutional thing I've ever read, quite frankly.
It was basically asking you to do the impossible. I mean,
control a very large group of people. Yes.
Control things you can't control. It's an impossible, it's a poison pill. Like you can't do anything like that. So, who gets to be the judge of what's defamatory and what's harassing? If they consider watching a channel harassing and stalking, then no, you don't get to be the judges, because you don't understand like what boundaries look like, and where the law and morality coexist, and the gap between them. You know what I mean? So anyway, okay, I'll keep going.
With the courts, they can't just say, oh, we're throwing this in the trash. No, everybody's going to get heard. 10 plaintiffs, in addition to the next batch of 10 that are being added, will be heard. So again, it's a class action injunction. There's nothing to drag yourself into something that a
class action injunction.
And then I got the injunction served to me by my lovely sheriff, who even had a good laugh at the idea of what was happening. And right on the front, it says, is this a class action? And they marked off no.
Yes, right, because
Holy
it's not
shit.
a class that he completely misconstrued and misled people as to what a class action is, that they were going to federal court. It's so ridiculous. And they're just like, it's going after Granny, it's going after barbecue. Get them. However you can get them, because they're the bad guys. And he painted this entire history and this entire thing around these boogeymen, who are
the dark side,
and who are operating you and paying you to do these things. It's like ridiculous. But look at that pause game.
That's literally how he looks in person. Like, ooh. What I love most is seeing how much their support has dwindled, because at this time they did get a lot of likes and a lot of commentary support and everything, and over time each one of them have dwindled to like less than 400 people backing them anymore. I mean, I've received emails almost daily of people that are in the inner workings wanting out. And at this point, the only thing they're afraid of is the stupid NDAs and the fact that these guys took their IDs because they wanted to pretend that these people were employees of At Night.
Exactly.
So,
exactly. I mean, that's what the reward paperwork says, is that you have to provide your fucking ID and be subject to digital facial scans and shit like that. No, you're not. I'm not going to give up my entire identity, for
to these frauds. No, like these people that don't even, one, they don't have the money that they're offering.
Yeah.
Two, they don't have the ability to even do the things they're speaking of. These are the guys that came out and said, we're going to hypnotize and drug truth serum everybody. They don't have the ability to do that. And I still want to know how the one of the greatest hospitals in our area feels knowing Nick claimed that they would do it for him.
Yep.
I keep forgetting about that. I got to mark that one down.
I know this is always the question on people's minds, is how do people fall for this? Here's the thing is,
I get it.
It's not as much as they're falling for it, is that they have a common enemy. It's this, they're going after Granny. I don't like Granny. I believe you.
Right.
I'm behind you. They pick a boogeyman. They pick an opposition. And a lot of times they'll pick an opposition that already has built-in opposition.
And in this case, it wasn't even me. It was the Proudfoots. They fed off the strong belief that many have that the Proudfoots are guilty. That's what they fed off of. It's classic.
No, they spread. They not only fed off of it, they spread the belief.
They spread it, right?
They created the narrative around the belief that they're guilty.
Right. They wrote a whole horror story behind their boogeyman and then said, hey, if you want these bad guys to stop and you want them to be held accountable, then back us in what we're doing, because we're the means to end all. And the other reason I think people believe them is the gullibility and the true passion for answers for Sebastian, which is the most horrific part of it all.
Well, that's the only reason I don't think I'd be covering this if it wasn't horribly exploiting a missing kids case.
Yeah.
With the use of his father. I mean, oh my God. And PB&J, welcome to real time.
Hey, PB. Yeah. And you know what? That commenter's right. I would almost love to put some of the speeches, and I know it's an exaggerated example, but of Jim Jones compared to Nick, and show how it's the same rhetoric. It is a classic way of doing this, and that's what they did. They all started right away at the same time, labeling us the hate channels, and then they started amping up their Christian values. So now, not only are we the dark side, but they're the bright light side, protected by God, and they're evil over there. Stay away. And people fucking fell for it.
Yep. And it's because, and as long as you're grabbing onto some kernel of truth and then expanding on it, right? And there's always an emotional tie. There's always some emotional motivation for somebody to want to believe what they're saying.
The abuse of an autistic child.
Right. Exactly.
What doesn't grab hearts more than that?
Exactly.
Oh no, you won't be able to afford to get out. Now maybe there.
Yep. You won't be able to afford to get out. So you better do it now.
How'd that work out?
Now, give me that $500 now, because I'm gonna win and you're not. And we got the entire force of the United States and every celebrity known to mankind behind us. So you just better back out now, you little girl.
Yeah.
YouTubers, not in this case, on YouTube that can afford litigation, probably two. And that includes people that have 150 million followers and subscribers. Not anybody that has under 1 million. Not anybody that has under 15. If you have under 25 million subscribers and you think you're going to win, stop.
Like that's the shit that we referenced, my attorneys at the time referenced in our SLAPP filing, that he made quotes like this because that proved that, you know, he was using the fact that this would be expensive. You're not allowed to fundraise. Like it was all an intimidation tactic. And
Yep.
and here's the stupidity of what he's saying anyhow. Like not your everyday person, especially in today's climate, cannot afford to fight for something we shouldn't even have to afford, which is our free speech, right? There's not many people. That's like when people try to insult me, like, or they try to brag, like, well, if I was thrown in litigation right now, I wouldn't need any help. Okay, well, you're like the not many people have, you know, 20, 30, 40K to throw down the drain. And if you do,
Nope.
then, you know, lucky you, but to shame people for that. But what's ironic is NIK wouldn't be able to do that either if he wasn't backed up by Lesniak, who abuses his license.
Exactly.
Fucking
Exactly.
scum.
For whatever reason he does it, who knows? But yep.
By the looks of it, I can take some guess, but I don't want to get thrown into a defamatory filing again. We'll say. You all saw.
Don't say poopy words. Don't say any poopy words. Don't talk about parts in the wind.
Well, and not only that, but don't forget the first thing Lesniak did when he introduced himself is that he's in recovery. And the two steps that he mentioned were basically like, I'm going to admit to my wrongdoings and I'm going to apologize for my wrongdoings. And I feel like that is what is being held over him. I listen to what people are saying, not for what they're saying, but for what they're not. And if you listen and revisit when he was on that panel, that's what I took away from it. I wouldn't doubt that these guys have some type of dirt on him, and or he just gets the joy, or he's just one of those type of people like they are, and birds of a feather. Well, I don't know which.
Like I said before, I think he's like a he's like a not as good looking Saul and not as good at his job Saul Goodman.
Yeah, actually,
you know, because he's doing the dirt. I personally believe he must be involved in the criminality so hard that they know it.
Yeah.
That they could turn him in at any time, and they know that NIK would turn on him on a dime. He's
a rat.
Yeah, he's a complete rat. But Mountain Wanderer wants to know if you did get nervous.
Yeah, I was terrified. Yeah. I'm not even afraid to admit it. It was Friday morning. My phone's blowing up. It's Molly Golightly of all people. And when I go into chat and tell her, like, I have not seen this, I'm being told I'm lying. I'm being told how serious it is. You got Tiffany Marie up there, giddier than a fucking whore at a, whatever, going on and on about how fucked I am. And being able to get a hold of an attorney on the weekend, damn near impossible. I must have went through the entire phone book of local attorneys. And then you got to remember, they also said that they were going to hold a press conference at my local courthouse that coming week. So I was that Wednesday. So what NIK said was on Friday, he basically said, come Monday, they'll type up whatever. I can sign it Tuesday and we can get it before the judge Wednesday. But if not, they're going to hold a press conference. And they said they were selling themselves to these news stations to appear with the idea that they can have a one-on-one with Dog the Bounty Hunter.
Yeah.
And I didn't know. I didn't know if it was true or not. I didn't like, now I know you can't hold a press conference for a civil case. Now I know that, but at that time, I didn't fucking sleep the whole weekend. I was terrified.
And that was the full intention. That was the entire intention, was scaring the shit out of you and make a big splash. And that's what they did. But I'm really, like I said before, I'm really that's sometimes that is the hardest part, is finding that attorney that will really go to bat for you and who's a good attorney and who will be accessible to you and understands what you're doing. And, I think you even went through a couple of attorneys. So I get that, it's really hard. So anyway, okay, we'll keep going.
Again, the company
Your
that
laugh.
is coming for you.
I laugh. Sometimes I just can't help it. I can't. Okay, we'll go back a little bit here.
Stop. Again, the company that is coming for you has gone after Jeff Bezos, the owner of Amazon. Same people that are behind this. And at the end of the day, they won, he lost. Now, if you don't live here, and there are a number of you that are being added to the case, that doesn't mean that you're not going to be compelled to come to Pennsylvania.
Oh
way it
yeah, I
works is
compel
the
you, demon.
File.
Fucking idiot.
You will be compelled. See what the problem for Nick here is that, you know, now that we know how this is aged, it's it's working in the opposite for them. Now the plaintiffs are going to be compelled to come to Pennsylvania. They thought they were going to get a free ride out of all of this, and it would just stop.
Yep.
You know,
and then even what he's saying here, like, oh, the company, you know, went against Jeff Payton. No, they didn't. Lesniak couldn't win a first DUI trial. You know what I mean? Like the guy, the best thing that guy could do for any of his clients is nothing.
Yeah.
And so, you know, well, when did Joseph Lesniak go after Jeff Bezos and win?
Right.
Never. So at this time, he still wants people to believe that there's this big organization of these elite attorneys that are working and backing them on everything. And people believed it.
Yep. And Marlene CA, the answer to this question is starting to slowly leak out about how this all came together. They did a last minute scramble to add Granny into the lawsuit using, you know, Brittany as her plaintiff, and so that they can make it Rico.
Because Rico catches headlines.
Right.
Rico brings publicity.
Yeah.
And that's what they thought they would do. See, up until a certain date, I wasn't on their radar. It was Clue and it was Barbecue. But they would have to file in federal court for that. And federal court would have left this right out, and they knew it. So as soon as Brittany, because she got insecure and thought I was going to have Nick on my panel, reached out to them crying and panicking, I wasn't on their radar. And I was chosen purely for my location, because nothing they put in their claims came from me. I had no involvement. I didn't raise 20K. I didn't ever call Seth a P word. None of their claims were true about me. None of them.
Right. So as I said at the beginning of the stream, for those of you who may not have caught it, you have to look at everything he says through the lens of, this is a pitch. This is something to get on a Netflix screen at some point. And they have to make it as big as possible to do that. So, Rico, we can make a Rico out of this. Great. Rico, that'll get headlines. So the accuracy of it, the absolute barbarism of using a missing child's case to claim Rico on poopy words, that's it doesn't matter to them what that looks like. What all they care about is, will it get us a Netflix deal? Well, I think that's working in reverse for them too. If there is any sort of Netflix type deal that comes out of this, it will be to show scammers like this guy.
Yep.
Okay. It'll be like a series of, okay, here's this one true crime scammer, Lana, who literally created a nonprofit by forging the names of the murderer's parents. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
A fraudulent nonprofit did an entire, like, she also said that she was working on Netflix documentaries. She claimed she was going to share all kinds of profits with her mods, all that shit. She did this on a much smaller scale. Okay. So you got that fraud, and then you got all kinds of other frauds. And then
you got Ernie Shells with the Summer Wells case and all those characters. And then you could introduce At Night and all these guys. And yes, it would sell. Matter of fact, when I'm speaking to an upcoming reporter on this, that is the perspective I'm taking of, you know, how easy it is for these people to come online and present themselves as something they're not.
Well, one perspective, because the papers and media, they are looking for it. What is this the most of? Well, what this was the most of was the biggest true crime community scam I've ever seen.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean,
the most involved true crime community scam.
I agree. I'll definitely go down in the books.
Yep.
Matter of fact, somebody from LawTube wants to speak with me as well. So
good.
Yeah.
Good. And note how, you know, conversely, when Justin went on Nancy Grace with a falsified image, with a doctored up image, and then they said that episode was taken down, and they said that was going to be coming back up. Hasn't happened. Didn't happen.
Nope.
They're all a bunch of fucking frauds.
Falsified image and a falsified name.
Yeah.
They are just frauds. Sorry.
Yep. No,
Yeah,
it's okay.
sorry.
It's okay. I started.
I tune this clown out. All I hear is Mickey Mouse. Come on in.
Look at him right now. Look at him right now. He looks so much like a rat right there.
Why would he even put in the filing that he's a federal rat? Why would you do that? Because he wanted the judge or whoever was going to see this to believe, like, oh, he works with the FBI? Oh, yeah. No, that was the most embarrassing, humiliating thing I've ever seen. He proudly snitched himself out in a in a filing that he was a federal rat. Like, he's proud of the fact that he ratted out his very close friend, may I add. So you idiots that signed an NDA with these clowns and joined them in this frivolous lawsuit, you really think he would have your best interest if he sold out his best friend? Come on.
Right. Okay, let's keep playing it.
Do the case, then send an attorney from, let's say, Virginia to a court in Virginia where they'll have a hearing without you there. They will enforce that subpoena.
So again, all of this is what's going to be happening to them now. Okay, keep going, Nick.
Tell us.
And
the next
that
moves.
case against you. And then deputies in Virginia will serve you. And then it's enforceable. So if you don't show, you get the Bullhorn Betty treatment.
The Bullhorn Betty treatment, guys.
I'm gonna get them.
You're gonna get the Bullhorn Betty treatment. And so that shows that he leaked a little bit of a motive there. He clearly has, a vendetta out on behalf of Bullhorn Betty there because she got dragged into court and unjustifiably. No, she was literally harassing and stalking those people.
Ironically, they did say that when Betty was found, when they granted the ROs, they all kept coming back and saying, don't worry, we got a plan. And Seth Rogers said, if you take away one of my voices, I'm going to take away one of yours. And that's what this was. We were pawns. And what's ironic is they tried to do to us what was done to Betty, but Betty was deserving of it. So if the roles were reversed and Betty was doing all that to Seth Rogers and his family, these guys would be the first to say she deserved it.
Yep. Yeah.
Weirdos.
Keep going.
And you know what that's like. They will drag your butt from Virginia to Pennsylvania and keep you here for a couple of days because you should have known. If you want to be part of the case because you're a problem, it's an open invite. Ask the two people that are being added, but ask them what they would do different 2 weeks before today. You know what they would have done different? They would have stayed out of this because this is serious. There is a child that is missing and a corporation that's going to stop at nothing to find him. They will take you to court in all the states that they have to. They will drag you on a tour from New York to Florida to Tennessee to Pennsylvania. Everywhere we have an office, you will be there. So don't jump in. This skunk case is going to go down in history, and I guarantee you it's going to get appealed by the other side, and it might make its way to the Supreme Court of the United States. And change is going to come.
First off, they don't even have a virtual office, okay? They even expired on their virtual office. So this idea that they have all these offices in different states, but yeah, I guarantee he's going to get appealed too, Nick. we will like that, but actually, I don't think they will, if I'm being quite honest.
No.
The smartest thing they would do is not appeal it, but we'll see. They don't seem to be very smart.
So people are wondering who was in Virginia that he was trying to
Dolly.
Okay. I didn't know who was in Virginia. Gotcha. Yeah. Okay.
The legal team that we are assembling, aside from the one we have, they deal with appellate law, they deal with the Supreme Court of the United States, and they deal with cases that go before the Supreme Court regularly. Every other year, these guys are there. And if Granny's watching, I'm the kind of person that would, at the end of the day, shake your hand and say, thank you for stopping that and helping us find Sebastian. If that's your goal, call our lawyers.
Call our lawyer. And then he goes on this big rap about, it's okay. You can call Joe Lesniak and he'll refer you to a lawyer. Right.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That would work out real well for, such a nice service that you're offering there.
So nice of you.
So nice.
We offered that to barbecue. You know what she said? Get
fuck you.
And now,
Get F.
Mhm.
So I just want to note this is like the last like
Ditch effort.
daily stream he did, there are more clips coming, but this is the last like daily stream he did, and then he went quiet. And so you're seeing that he's getting closer and closer to being throttled by his parole officer and having to deputize Hong. And so he's getting more desperate to be the one to put out all these threats and be very, domineering. So
Right.
Look what she's doing. Don't go down with her because you want to set an example. It's not going to work, but it will work for you to have a great career on YouTube if you get away from those weirdos that are trying to drag you in and probably make you a scapegoat.
See, that's part of my punitive. This guy literally said to me that I could have a great career on YouTube if I simply go with him, if I simply surrender. And how'd that work out for all your plaintiffs? Because the last I looked, they're not doing very well over there. But my channel's thriving. You got a new member. So you say, welcome.
Oh, I got a new member.
You did. Yay.
Yay. Thank you. Thank you for becoming a member. Well, you are now part of the illustrious Dragon Fire. Because we break chains here.
That actually scared me.
I'm sorry. Well, it's not a dog, so it was you didn't have to get mad about it being a dog or anything.
I went through dog therapy. I'm okay now. Just keep them away from me.
Okay, let's keep going.
That's honestly the vibe I'm getting. I'm sorry. I guess I'm giving you advice that I shouldn't because it would be great. Even though we're the ones suing you, we are suing you only because we want you to stop breaking the law. Taking advice from the wrong people, the people that are...
We're suing you to stop breaking the law.
Yeah. And like I said from the beginning, and I ask again, and who does he think he is to even try to say I'm breaking the law? That's up to police. You hand that off to police. You don't get to sit here and say I'm breaking the law. And then when he says I shouldn't because I'm offering you advice, I wouldn't take Nick's advice if it came with a fucking $2,000 check attached to it. I wouldn't take any advice from this guy. Look how he's led them so far.
Exactly.
They're going to make you a scapegoat, and I feel bad. I feel bad. That's why I'm telling you this.
Right.
I know we have our differences, but we are from Delco. If you want to get involved in a lawsuit, simple. Do a video, break the law, tag me, and DM me your address if you want to make it easy. If you want to...
See, he's just begging people, go ahead, come on, join. There's plenty of room, everybody. Just make a video and tag me, and I'll get ya.
Yeah.
And I'll have all your details.
Go jaywalk across the street. He's gonna get Jez.
He's gonna get
this law-abiding citizen.
Yep. Oops, that was an accidental.
Law-abiding citizens coming for all of you. Watch out.
Yep.
Very easy for yourself, and you want to be part of it like everybody else does. Do a video of something that's against the law that we can sue you for. Send me your address, your name, where you want to be served. If you will accept service electronically, and guess what? You're in the party.
Len,
we got plenty of space.
Len, these big bad attorneys didn't tell Mr. Nick the Hat here that you can't civilly sue for criminal codes.
Right.
He was never informed by these big attorneys that quite won't work out. No.
Right.
Oh.
And that you would be literally humiliated for it in the ruling for doing that.
And then forever cry that you're a victim of something you decided to do.
Yeah. Wah.
I
We have a
can't
lot
help
of space.
it.
I think you can have as many people as you want. So tell your friends if they want to get involved. It's never too late. Even if on the day before this is over, they can still get involved, and it'll just prolong it by another 4 years. That's fine. But we're not going anywhere until not just that first layer of hate is gone, but
Where's he
until
at now?
the individuals that we are speaking with every day.
He's been hobbled. He's been rightfully hobbled. And also, let's not forget that he made all kinds of promises that looked a lot like this. One moment. Where did that go?
I know what you're about to pull up. I have a thought.
This one?
Yes, yeah. The nation's going to be lit up green this week. Everybody keep your eyes out. And
Yeah. Yeah.
upcoming Trump administration will be here in January. We are now in May, my friends. But don't worry, come spring, they're going to have a search of 10,000 in Tennessee looking for Sebastian.
Yep. Boots on the ground, baby. Boots on the ground.
Day, the likes of YouTube compliance, he's the vice president of YouTube's compliance department.
So here he goes, throwing out the names of all the platforms. So he's not only got all of law enforcement in the entire United States in his back pocket, he's got every celebrity known to mankind in his back pocket, and he's got the bosses of the platforms in his back pocket. Okay. This is his authoritarian fever dream. Fan fiction.
Nick thinks when he meets with his parole.
What?
Sorry, I was going to say Nick thinks when he meets with his parole officer that he's having lunch with a friend.
Yeah, exactly. Or he's going to confession with his priest who will keep it completely. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Hey, Moxie.
We're speaking with TikTok's compliance for their American. They have to follow a lot of U.S. law, given the fact that they are an overseas organization. And they are cooperating. You know why? They don't like against the law stuff. That's why they're in front of Congress trying to defend themselves. Please just stop it.
What?
And if you want to keep it going,
he was talking about the platforms, about how the platforms have to go in front of Congress. And look at that pause game. Look at that pause game.
Oh my gosh. They call me, they make fun of my nose. I mean, come on.
Yeah, I'm looking at his lips. It's like,
oh, they're like barely there. They ran away too. They're tired of them too.
It's just come on in and let's bring you into Pennsylvania and get it over with. Come on, just do it already. That way we can get you all in at once. But that's not to say that we know some of you think you're slick and you're gonna wait a month or two and then try to jump in. It's not happening. We're pulling you guys in, even if we think you're good. Even if you haven't said
right there
much
was big.
Yet, you're getting pulled in if you
say what?
What he just said right there, if you rewind back, he stopped himself, but what he's saying here was huge. It was a huge part of what I put in for the slap.
Okay, let me just thank Cinnamon Girl, my lovely co-reader.
Beautiful photo.
Yeah, she's so awesome, and her people love her voice. And so let's find a fun court clip for my girl, Cinnamon Girl. A fun court clip.
Well, who could it be?
I mean, I've always been a straight-A student. I am an outstanding mother to my son. I excel at everything.
Including murder.
I excel at everything. Thank you so much, Cinnamon Girl. I really appreciate it. Okay, let's keep going.
Wait a month or two and then try to jump in. It's not happening. We're pulling you guys in, even if we think you're good. Even if you haven't said much yet, you're getting pulled in if you said just one thing, just so we can make sure that you're not going to pop out again. Not happening here.
Yeah, I was at it. I was in the exhibits.
Yeah. And that right there is a certifiable slap suit. You say one thing we don't like, and we're going to throw you in litigation, even if we think you're good. That's what he was about to say. Even if we think you're good, you say one thing we don't like, and we'll throw you in litigation. It's a slap.
You're absolutely right. That's a very good point. That's a very, very good point. So that is very important. Thank you so much for the $5 super chat. Does Dog know he lost yet? Doubtful.
Doubt it.
Thank you. Be nice. Try it for the gifted membership. Let's give some people some rewards for those nice gifts. Shit. This one always cracks me up. I can't help it. Where is it? I can't help it.
Your Honor, sidebar.
Okay, listen. What you have?
Since
There's
you
no
brought
need to
this
do sidebars. There's no jury here.
Okay, well, that's
so
me.
you do a sidebar to keep a jury from hearing things, but there's no jury here. So
okay, then
if you have an objection, make an objection.
These people are all the same. I'm an amazing self-representing attorney. I'm going to go in the court and kick all your people's ass. I want a sidebar.
Right. Like she watched enough court TV.
Yeah.
To think that she knows what she's doing. Bless her heart.
Yeah. All right, let's keep going.
We have a list of everybody that did that last time, and they're being added to the case. And we have a list of people who might do it this time, and they're being added to the case. That's
nice slap you got there. That's a nice. Can I pet that slap?
Well, this entire video was quoted throughout my slap. It was. He literally gave me everything I needed, from intimidation to his intent to the financial draining. He gave me it all. The judge even quotes it in her opinion. She brings up the stuff that we filed, and which were these quotes.
Right.
That's the beautiful thing about Rico. You don't need to know each other. You just have to have connections that ultimately link with one another. I am pretty sure that Barbecue has a connection that 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 knows Clue, that knows so that's how
Not how Rico works.
Remember 6 Degrees from Kevin Bacon? So he's basically saying, 6 degrees from Kevin Bacon, that's a Rico.
It's like the most ridiculous thing I ever heard, honest to God.
Fucking ridiculous. And imagine how much harder he was selling that behind the scenes. And you people bought it. You people actually bought this. Come on, you guys.
Well, and ironically, as he was selling it, he was also developing his own Rico, his own criminal enterprise. And we have witnessed that come, to the surface, and more is to be revealed. So stand by. I assure you, there is a Rico amongst us, and it simply isn't us. And we don't need to 6 degree of separation by any means. They're all right there gathered in a lovely Discord, all 42 of them.
Yeah, 40 fucking 2. 40 fucking 2 people. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Rico works. It's not about, I don't know that person. Well, I know you don't. That's the beautiful thing about it. Do you think that
he's like that's so easy for me. I can just say all these people did the same thing, and that must mean they know each other.
Which is, essentially, and again, I'm going to be bringing this part up to the judge because he knows that I didn't know Barbecue. So to accuse me of working in an enterprise with her was asinine. Right. But that is what social media is. So everybody who covered, let's go with their type of thinking. Anybody who covered Donald Trump becoming president and cheered it on all works in a Rico now because they had similar thoughts and coverage. I mean, it's so stupid.
I know.
It's such a dangerous thing to do on social media. And I'm so deeply saddened, although not surprised, that any creators would support this.
Yeah.
It could impact all of them.
Yep, exactly. I mean, man, I'm just really glad that they picked the right people to like do their homework before they just said, okay, here's your $500.
Right, right. Well, no, that's because I was surrounded by the right people. Because honest to God, if it wasn't for all of you, I wouldn't have been able to fight this. I did not do it alone. And, thank God, unlike some of these people, I do have real world relationships and many educated people that I am, close enough to consult them with that all said the same thing. Like this won't make it anywhere. This is ridiculous.
Yeah.
Like little John Doe knows Pablo Escobar? No. I don't know how that is. I'm sure he knows of him, doesn't know him, but still organized crime, same thing, same stuff, except
sorry. I just can't.
You just compared us to Escobar. You fucking
I know. And the thing is that the Rico law was created so that they could get the people at the top of the organization, not the little drug dealer guys. It was to cut the snake off at the head, you idiot. So no, it doesn't even matter who the little drug dealers are. Okay.
Right.
You idiot.
Well, he thought of Escobar because that cocaine got him walking around the parking lot. Oh my God.
This is your first modern day Rico case. And it's going to make case law because this case is going to decide if Rico is applicable to gangs on the internet. And I
had to laugh. I mean, the thing is like,
believed himself.
We can laugh at this now, but this is like serious fuck shit. This is as real life as it gets. If you guys don't think it's going real life to file a complaint about somebody, lie throughout it, put their address and phone number and everything in it. That is as real life as it gets. You're saying it's time to go. It's time for the government to step in. And when the government steps in, it's all no holds barred. I mean, you guys, you absolute assholes.
And it was literally filed in my neighborhood. It's not, I'm not like some that are in North Carolina and this has no impact on their day-to-day life. This is my neighborhood. This is where my family resides. This is, you know, my extended family.
Yeah. Yeah. It's very intentional.
We'll leave it up to the courts to decide that. But this is going to be a benchmark case because they will decide, is RICO applicable to YouTube creators? As soon as we have a hearing date, we'll let you know. There will be a hearing. Some of you have a way out. And Granny, you are one of them. You are somebody that has a way out. Just if you have an attorney, please have him reach out to Leslie Act. Just please don't. I can care less, but you should care because you're going to be making YouTube videos for the next 10 years. And they're only going to cover your gas to get to court.
He's saying this directly to me.
That's about it.
Yeah. Yep. Exactly. I mean, they're being very pointed and belittling and you know, pushing you down and bring on the full weight of the government. Assholes.
Well, we're going to financially drain you. You're going to be going live just to pay to get to the courtroom.
Yep.
That's what he's saying.
Yep. Exactly. And then, you know, Hong was saying in other videos, you're going to have so many court dates, you're going to think you're at a basketball game. Oh, my God.
His head looks like a basketball.
No matter what, we're not ending, we're not settling. We're going through litigation. We're going through depositions, and we're going to go to trial for some of these people. We're not going to, this is going to be a 4 to 5 year litigation. Let me put that back in. This won't end until the year 2030.
You wish.
There's going to be a new president, a whole new world by then. That's when this is going to be over. So,
I know. A whole new world. It's exactly right. It is a whole new world, isn't it, Nick? Where everything's upside down because this last ditch effort, I don't know how anyone will ever believe you again. And if they do, it's on them, baby. And it'll come down harder. The higher you go with all this kind of bullshit, it's a house of cards. The faster you fall.
Amen.
So next time you click go live, think about that. And if you want to be stuck on that live until 2030 with the rest of the people that are, that's fine. If you do, think about that. It's going to be a very long time because by the time this thing gets to a jury, we're talking 6 years. It is what it is. The information that you're going to be hearing from
6 years?
6 years?
6 years. And, so, and now this is the segment where he goes into all kinds of press, you know, his press connections. You know all about that. I want to get to the part where he starts doing the Netflix pitch.
Oh yeah.
So let me get to the Netflix pitch.
That's what we are going to do. That's fine. By Christmas, we want to have a Christmas present for Sebastian, and that's going to be bringing him home and putting these monsters on so many news channels that people in Somalia know about them. They're on YouTube in Somalia. Let me tell you, the schedule is full when it's down to getting this out there, when it comes down to getting publicity.
Here we go.
Mind effing these people, but you did it so soon that you put them in a lockdown, and now we've got to break that lockout. I don't care if we have to drive a tank through it. And like I said, we have the resources to pull it off. And 7 months ago, a little boy went missing. Within days, there was a suspect, but not from police, from YouTube. Now, that quickly hit like wildfire. And what happens? As the father is searching for his son, it's possible that attention right there, that whole spectacle literally gave them that freeway to execute that plan.
So that's his grand Netflix plot that, you know, the people were chased away the searchers so that they could in secret smuggle him away. And then they paid a bunch of YouTubers to do that. And therefore, you know, and these guys are going to now find they're going to find Sebastian, and one way they're going to do it is they're going to sue all these horrible YouTubers who are obviously involved in this big plot. That's his Netflix plot, where he gets to swoop in and be the big hero.
Yeah, sounds stupid.
Alive well, because when he went missing, search crews started, and then YouTubers decided, let's name this guy as a suspect. Not putting the whole blame on YouTube whatsoever. I'm saying, you guys are hurting people.
I guess he missed a part where Seth Rogers named himself a suspect.
You can try all that. And it's going to make a great net.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I'm forwarding to like toward the end because we're getting a little long in the tooth here, but I think I want to find this one where Hong gets all histrionic and is physically histrionic here.
I'm tired of going on seeing these like interviews from like these little like piglets blinking away every day talking about this case.
Guys, this is about Sebastian Rogers. That was the goal, to put the coverage back on him. And now that it is, I'm not saying I'm backing out, because we're not. We are actively trying to find this young
and everything, and I'm pretty sure everyone has. Every time I go through it, the more and more questions come out about this Dropfoot family, Proudfoot, whatever, Dropfoot. And don't you even think of dodging these questions. And trust me, like my legal team and like all of the producers that there is in Good Morning America and our team will know that you're lying if you are lying. And
Good Morning America.
Question you again if you're dodging those questions. Answer.
My computer is a little bit laggy right now. What were you saying? Good Morning America?
He says Good Morning America, as
Yeah,
if Good Morning America would ever associate with Nick after he impersonated two of their reporters. Like, what are you talking about?
Exactly. Yeah.
I never even heard this, Lynn. It's the first time I'm hearing this.
Oh, well, when I share the full video, like there's all kinds of references to Good Morning America in the press section. All kinds.
Oh,
Good
maybe
Morning
I should reach out
America.
to them.
Dr. Phil. He's like, you can get you know what? We're gonna call Dr. Phil. I can good friend, Dr. Phil. I'll get you on, Dr. Phil. Come on right now. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So, and then Hong, I'm pretty sure it's coming up. He says something really, really telling about himself here.
Like a bullet coming to your head. Like I'm not the type of person that just talk the talk, okay? Like I walk the walk too. So like let's take action and like let's go on the news and throw everything on the table. Let's go on the news and throw everything on the table.
Physically,
he starts throwing shit.
Starts throwing shit. Let's put everything on the table. It's time. I'm going to show you how. But look at the lack of expression on his face. He doesn't even believe himself. But look what he goes on to say here.
And find out what exactly happened to this 15-year-old autistic child that vanished out of your home, okay? Your home. The more and more you look into this, the more and more questions I have, and the more and more I get upset. And when I'm upset, it's not pretty. I hardly get upset. Like, people know. When I get upset, like, I do things that I would say people have a conscience won't do.
Oh,
okay?
That feels like a threat.
Did you hear that?
Yeah, that's a threat. I never heard it before, but I certainly heard it now. That's absolutely a threat. And here's the thing. He says people know. Nobody knows who the fuck you are. You're a nobody. You're a nobody locally. You're a nobody online. You're nobody. You chased around Danilo Cavalcante. You got a little bit of clout off of it, and that's it. You're nobody, Hung. You're a bored bitch, a house bitch, probably to Nick, who sits inside and tweets all day, feeling proud of yourself, making memes, working for the elite. You're fucking ridiculous.
So in the course of these videos, he's admitted that he's had several lawyers who represent him and he doesn't have a conscience.
Yeah, it sounds like a sociopath. This is what, and when people say, "Look, oh, you're stalking my lawyer," this is why I'm uncomfortable with these guys, because I do believe they don't have a conscience. You have to not have a conscience to LARP yourself into a missing child's case and turn it into what they did.
1000%.
Makes me sick.
1000%.
I never heard this shit, man.
Yeah. Let's get. They're getting so they're like of the battle, like it's time, that it's coming down to go time. They're like, nobody's signing. Oh my God, they aren't signing. What are we gonna do? What do we got to tell them? How many more threats do we have to do? And I'm sure they were doing all kinds of shit behind the scenes.
Look how big he is.
Crazy couple. Is it because of his medications that he was getting? Like,
This is where they're talking about how is it because of the medications he's getting? They're talking about why would they have gotten rid of Sebastian?
I thought he said, is it because of the medications he was gay?
No, getting.
Okay. I think it's because your internet's getting a little choppy.
And he caused your child harm and you didn't say one word. Like, I guess
there's no way for anybody to know whether she said one word about, her child being harmed. That's the type of shit you have to question when they say shit like that. There's no way for that's not true. You don't know that. You can't just say that as a fact. So let's keep going.
I thought he was speaking to Seth.
I guess the lavish life is better than the child that you gave birth to. And guess what? Like, that money is going to run out soon. Where you think, like, you guys already have the money. You guys already, this will be a very beautiful relationship, a very happy family without Sebastian there. Sebastian is special. If you want to paint a perfect life with a normal child, crazy couple, is it because of his medications that he was getting? Like, are you guys still like getting his prescriptions? Like, you guys are addicted to maybe Adderall because he probably, he has like ADHD, something like that. Is it because of the social security?
Complete and utter projection. Absolutely. And all the shit they were saying to ramp things up and to keep things going and keep people afraid and keep people thinking that this was a real thing. They created this boogeyman impression about like you said, the abuse of the parents. And so they're such terrible, abusive parents. They deserve to be brought down in any means possible. And so we're going to, and even to sweep up YouTubers into it because they said poo-poo words to us. You guys fucking completely and utterly scraped the hell out of this case. Exploited the fuck out of it. Buried Sebastian in the mud, you assholes.
Yep.
Desperate. Are you without them? They wouldn't be YouTube. Those are the strategies we're working on. You can be on the right side of this, and you can end up possibly coming out of this case as not a creator, but as an individual who was part of a movement that ended the hatred that has ruined the chances of finding out dozens of missing children.
See how he's ramping things up? See, you could be part of a movement. A movement. Okay, fuck you.
Dozens.
A lot of children would have been found if it wasn't for hate, if it wasn't for rhetoric, if it wasn't for BS. And it's not just Sebastian. Our goal is to find him. And by getting the skunks to slow down, and I'll stop calling them skunks when they stop spraying the hate. We are suing you only because we want you to stop breaking the law. Stop breaking the law. Because you guys are getting a lot of attention from people you didn't even know were watching. A lot of
everybody's watching you. All the people. Look at his fucking eyes there.
Yeah.
Everybody's watching you. Yep. I mean, they were getting more and more desperate, more and more terrified. This isn't going to work. They were getting closer to the hearing. This was in like December-ish time frame, or getting to it. So they're getting closer and closer. Maybe it was even December at this point. So like they're getting closer and closer, and they're realizing they're not getting what they wanted out of it, and it's starting to work against their direction, and they're getting desperate.
Attention,
Not only that,
including the incoming
sorry.
No, go ahead.
I was going to say, not only that, but this is how you know these guys have never worked with the quote unquote elite, and they're not police officers, because in no real world are people's words on the internet intercepted in the actual working of the FBI, the police, the TBI. They're still searching for missing kids, regardless of whatever anybody's saying online.
Yeah, exactly.
Idiots.
Let's get to the end.
No, still organized crime, same thing, same stuff, except this is your first modern day Rico case, and it's going to make case law, because this case is going to decide if Rico is applicable to gangs on the internet. This is going to be a benchmark case, because they will decide, is Rico applicable to YouTube creators? Is it? As soon as we have a hearing date, we'll let you know. There will be a hearing, and there will be many hearings. It's not going to be just one. Just please don't. I can care less, but you should care, because you're going to be making YouTube videos for the next 10 years, and they're only going to cover your gas to get to court. That's about it. No matter what, we're not ending, we're not settling. We're going through litigation. We're going through depositions, and we're going to go to trial for some of these people. This is going to be a 4 to 5 year litigation. Let me put that back in. Go live. Think about that. And if
I was muted. My computer's a little bit laggy. I should probably shut it down at this point. But so in the middle of, you see all of the intense press threats. We got the press. We're going on Dr. Phil. We're doing all this stuff. But basically, it was all to culminate into this big, fever dream Netflix pitch on the back of a missing child, so that he can overcome that he's a fucking fraudulent convict. You'll never overcome it, buddy. You'll never overcome.
And what they're not telling people is, at the time of this video, is when they put in requesting the court's permission to amend their complaint, which they did not need to seek permission for. So they were already trying to prolong litigation at that point and not have to answer for what they were doing.
Exactly.
How embarrassing.
So, y'all are a bunch of frauds, and I put this little clip at the end just to remind them of who they are.
Well, I'm not a crook.
Well, you know what else, Lynn? If anything, they ruined the national publicity that Sebastian was getting. Nancy Grace will never host them again. Vinnie Politan no longer speaks to them. Hell, even Pascal has backed out. So the only person they're left with is Jennifer Coffendorfer, who has also been very quiet. They no longer have the reach they would have had they not made these decisions, because a lot of people didn't think the way these people thought, and the Vinnie Politans and the Nancy Grace and all of them could see right through what was happening.
Yep.
And they were disgusted by it.
They painted themselves out of the picture by just being complete crooks and frauds. Literally. Yeah. It is absolutely shameful for anyone if anybody who is enabling this, taking action on these guys' words, it's shameful, and it's also running a fool's errand. And I am absolutely gobsmacked that people in true crime believed this shit.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely gobsmacked. So I've been sharing.
And they still push it. Despite everything, they still run and they still push what these guys are saying, and it will forever. And it's because these people aren't thinking off of facts; they're thinking off of feelings.
Yep.
You don't like me, so you want this to be real. And in your delusional, hate-filled mind, because you're the dark side, you have convinced yourself that everything these guys say is correct and that we're wrong. Despite a judge's ruling, despite the obvious, it doesn't matter. They will forever live in that delusion because of their own hate. It's pathetic, but it's who and what they are.
Yep. Absolutely.
Fantastic video as always, Lynn. You are very much appreciated. You know, I always thoroughly enjoy your very educated perspective on things, even if I don't understand the big words you were using. I would love to see you one day be in the law tube sector of YouTube where you belong, not in this little shit place with us.
I'll make my way there. And they're
You will.
they're a little bit dry. I need to find a little bit, you know, I have such kind of a snarky, sarcastic sense of humor. And I know a lot of them do too, but I like to, you know, use it a little bit more, you know?
I got the snarky. I got my foot in the door with the snarky side of LawTube. I will definitely bring you along with me to check it out. You would fit right in. I look forward to watching your video as well. Again, it's just brilliant, and I sincerely appreciate your very educated, and you know, these people try to discredit you as if you're part of like the dark side or the hate channels when you're not a person that sides with anybody. You've always been an independent thinker. You've always saw things the way you saw them, and you just happen to see this the way it is, which is the way most people should have. But you know, bless their hearts.
I said at the outset of this that I can't vouch for everything you've ever done. I can't vouch for everything Barbecue's ever done. I can't vouch for that. What I can vouch for, I love how Moxie calls me a genius. You're so sweet. That puts me on the Steve Jobs level, and I'm not the Steve Jobs level. Even Nick admitted he's not Steve Jobs. But
in this sector, you are a genius. In this sector, amongst us, you are a genius.
Oh, that's very sweet. But as I was saying, like, but I can see when a missing child's case is being hella exploited and when it's wrong. And I read through all of the paperwork to see, you know, what they were claiming, and I'm like, these are just fucking poopy words on the internet. This is go time. I'm not going to stand for this. So that's why. And you know, Granny knows that I have a personal policy of not joining other channels memberships and sharing their GoFundMe links and stuff like that. But look, Granny does still have a lawsuit that she's, you know, legal bills to pay. So I've been sharing her channel link, and I'm sure she's been sharing her Give, Send, Go link. So if you feel inclined and you haven't heard about this before, feel free to go over there and check out her links to contribute to her legal fund, because I know I wouldn't want to be hampered with these fucking legal funds, even if I knew they were eventually going to be coming back to me. So
I appreciate that. And if you aren't able to financially contribute, simply supporting the channel by liking the stream or interacting in the chat is as much of use and help as a financial donation.
Yep. Well, I really appreciate you joining me here. I appreciate everybody being here. This video will be available to members only for a bit, and then I'll make it public and you guys can see all of it. And you know, if there are any specific links that you need to the original source for your lawyers, please let me know, and I'll be happy to provide it to you. So.
Oh, I know you would. Thank you so much. Like I said, just rehearing all of that, it makes me want to go back over, excuse me, the SLAPP suit that we filed early on, because that was my immediate defense against them, in which a lot of this is actually quoted. And yeah, I remember being shocked that he was so brazenly basically saying, hey, this is a SLAPP suit, because he clearly didn't know that we newly adopted the SLAPP, you know, legislation here, or whatever you would call it. So
right.
Yeah.
Well, like I said, I'm looking forward to when you guys have your hearing, and whenever those transcripts come out, we'll do a reading of that, and and you know, look forward to that. So everybody,
and a few creators are considering coming to the hearing. So I will be posting the date as soon as I know it, in case they're able to accommodate themselves to come, which I think would be amazing, to kind of be there in person, and you know, the support of those who have helped get through this, to be there would be it would just be such a movement. You know what I mean? It'd be really amazing. So
yeah. Well, anybody who might be in the area and is interested and motivated, you know, be watching out for that, to go to that hearing. That's not stalking. Courthouses are public places, okay, y'all? So that's not stalking.
No crying now. All right, Lynn, I'll drop down and let you close out. Thank you again. I really, really appreciate your work.
All right. Thanks.
Bye-bye.
No
Bye,
problem. Thanks
chat.
for coming up. So, yep, that like I said, I do appreciate you all being here. I so much appreciate the gifted memberships and the super chats. Y'all deserve a little bit more of a reward for what you guys gave. So here's some more Dragon. You are now a breaker of chains. And remember, the next time you guys are, hearing another claim out of one of these people's mouths, if you are really in the true crime community, or if you really are here about the truth, you need to say this to them. Grounds, especially if it's a claim about another person that is going to harm their reputation, because they're clearly, that's what they're out for, and they don't care whether the accusation is truthful or not. So thank you all for being here. I won't be here next week. I'm taking a vacation next week, so don't be looking for me next weekend at all, but I'll be around and I'll probably be in chats and stuff like that. So I'm just going to be on vacation from creating content, and I will miss you, but I will be back. And just stay safe out there, and just remember that people are going through things in their real lives, and that things that happen on the internet does affect them. And it's not our place to be digging into their real lives when they're just saying poopy words on the internet. Thank you, Lynn Levenlight. Thank you, everybody else. And I will see you next time.